If you've ever woken up to multiple parlays hitting, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. Today is going to be the Friday, December 19th edition. We're going to close the week out strong here. It is the last trading day ahead of the truncated Christmas holiday week. So we're going to go over some news here. We're going to take a look at the SPY, and we're going to find stuff to trade as we always do. Hope y'all enjoyed that game last night. What a game. What a game. All right. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Friday edition for December 19th, begins right now. Well, I got to find the opener, though. Good morning and welcome back, folks. Happy Friday. We are back to close out the week strong here today. Hope that you all had a wonderful Thursday evening. We are back here for one more episode prior to the weekend. It's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. Robert is first here today. Robert, good morning. You are first. You are first. Solitary Soldier, good morning. Welcome back. Peter, good morning. Bummer, no chance of a white Christmas. Peter, I looked ahead in the forecast for where I live too, and it actually looks like it's going to be 50 degrees and sunny on Christmas, which is indeed a bummer. I was also hoping for a white Christmas. Maybe something will change, but I will say that right now, the forecast doesn't look good, but we're still going to enjoy the day anyway. Big Dave, good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you again. Kevin, good morning. Welcome back. Kevin's asking where the Santa Claus rally is. I don't really know why you're asking, Kevin. We're not at the Santa Claus rally, period. We've been saying that. Santa Claus rally doesn't start till after Christmas. Don't forget. So we're not there yet. The question really is the trading action right now kind of setting up for a conducive Santa Claus rally? One of the things that we discussed yesterday regarding the Santa Claus rally is that because so many people expect it, they almost try to front run it. And then you get kind of a trade up until Christmas. And like last year, we actually traded down after Christmas. So it'll be interesting to see if we get the same type of thing here this year. We shall see. Jim, good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you again. Sun-Kissed Yogi, good morning. Welcome back. Zach McCracken, good morning. It's good to see you again. Big Dave reminding us that it is quadruple witching day. We'll see if that has any impact. Generally speaking, we've talked about this before. These generally do not have any impact. Cad Monkey, good morning. Welcome back. Whisk, good morning. Welcome back. Neville says, this is it. Don't get scared now. Who's scared, Neville? Who's scared? Nobody is. We're out here to have a good time. Graf, good morning. It's good to see you again. Dirkus, good morning. Good to see you again. Creation, good morning. Good to see you again. Day Trader, good morning. Rich in Debit, good morning. Indeed, Day Trader, happy Epstein files. I hope that you're not too disappointed today, boss. Just passing through, good morning. Brian, good morning. Knights Lance, good morning and happy holidays. Tom, good morning. Just Some Guy, good morning. Welcome back. Born to Be Free, good morning and welcome back. Edward and Carlos, welcome back. Yassine, good morning. Brian, good morning. Tori, good morning. Scarlett, it's good to see you again. Smita, good morning. Green Golem, good morning and welcome back. Omerica, good morning. Brent, good morning. Zabeth, good morning. Johnny, good morning. All right, we are ready to rip here today. Let's go ahead and get started with our stock market today. All right, futures about flat, kind of mixed here this morning. S&P futures up 0.04%, the Dow futures down 0.07%, and the Nasdaq leading the way higher, 0.13%. So although it's a little mixed, they're all very close to unchanged. So not a whole lot of pre-market action here today, at least so far. We'll see how that changes throughout the course of the day. Let's take a look at some cues from last session. Information technology, communication services, and consumer discretionary stocks recorded the biggest gains on Thursday, although consumer staples and energy names bucked the trend to close lower. On Thursday, the November report showed that annual CPI inflation 2.7% from 3% in September. Because the Bureau of Labor Statistics lacked the October survey-based points, it carried forward September levels, assuming zero inflation for a missing month. The concern here is that data is not actually going to make great comparable data going forward. We'll see how it all shakes out. Definitely seems like the market kind of didn't care too much about the CPI print. We talked a little bit about that yesterday with gold not really responding the way that you would think gold responds. So we were trading up a little bit here in the pre-market after drifting lower in the after hours yesterday. Now it looks like it's rolling over. So we'll see if there's any next day feelings about that CPI print. Meanwhile, President Trump signed an executive order on Thursday directing federal agencies to loosen regulations on marijuana, making it one of the most significant shifts in federal cannabis policy in decades. The 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.14%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.47%. Now, we do have several stocks in focus here today, and the first one is going to be Oracle, but not for the reason you might think. Oracle shares jumped 5.65% in the pre-market on Friday as TikTok parents company ByteDance signed binding agreements to shift control of TikTok U.S. operations into a new joint venture that includes Oracle as a key investor and security partner. So I know Oracle's been really kind of beaten down on the data center trade as of late, getting a pop here today on what looks like the TikTok saga finally coming to an end. Oracle still holding a lot of those gains here in the pre-market this morning. The second stock on our list is Coty, ticker COTY. Shares rose 1.54% as it poised to receive cash considerations of $750 million from the sale of its Wella business to KKR. BlackBerry is the next stock on our list here. BlackBerry declined 5.75% despite reporting third quarter revenue of $141.8 million. That beat the analyst estimate of $137.4 million. The company reported adjusted earnings of 5 cents per share for the quarter, which beat the analyst estimate of 4 cents per share. The next stock on our list is going to be Nike, ticker NKE. That tumbled by 10.06% despite better than expected second quarter results, as it said during the earnings call that it expects narrow margin and lower China revenue due to tariff impact for the third quarter. The last stock on our list here is going to be FedEx. FedEx was 1.04% lower despite posting upbeat financial results for the second quarter of fiscal 2026 and raising its full year 2026 guidance. All right, let's go back and take a look at the SPY chart here. Here's what we got today. Now, with the SPY chart here, I know, as I was saying in the opener there, the bounce back here did some positive work, but didn't completely take us back to where we wanted to go if we want to see new all-time highs. I know the question this morning was more around the Santa Claus rally. I don't know if we have I don't know if we can for sure say if we're going to get that yet. As I outlined, there seems to be a little bit of front running for the Santa Claus rally because so many expect it. But if we take a look at the SPY price, where we're sitting right now, down 0.17%, is actually about 50 cents beneath the 50-day moving average. We are also still below the 20-day moving average. We haven't been able to recapture that. But the good news here, or the positive that it's done, is we have closed above that 673. Now, yesterday, if we look at the chart from yesterday, 680 has definitely been a key level and is still a key level here. It looked like right at the end of the day that we might try and trade up and close above it, but we were not strong enough to do that. We ended up selling into the close a little bit and closed at 676. So I would still say that 680 is an upside key level here today. We'll see if we're able to close above that, but also keep in mind, we would love to see it close above the 674.86 level, which is represented by the 50-day moving average. We also, let's see if we can, looks like, yeah, we're also still above the trend line. So I would hope that if we sold off, the trend line might provide some type of support, but we'll see how it shakes out throughout the course of the day here today. Now, some insights from analyst Scott Wren, senior global market strategist at Wells Fargo Investment Institute, projects a positive trajectory for the U.S. stock market and economy heading into 2026. He expects stocks to turn in another year of good performance driven by an improving economy with moderating inflation. A key indicator fueling this optimism is the widening spread between the 10 and the 2-year Treasury yields. Red notes this gap is the largest since January of 2022 and historically tends to accompany a broadly stronger equity performance. Good. Furthermore, he anticipates an economic reacceleration in early 2026. I think the only thing that I disagree with Scott here is I would be more comfortable saying that we're going to see this economic resurgence or reacceleration, as he calls it. I think that's probably going to happen closer to the middle or the back half of the year. That would just be my gut feeling. Looks like Scott's expecting it a little early, so we'll see if we get either of those cases to shake out. This supported by his view that the Federal Reserve will likely cut rates again. So it looks like Scott here is kind of putting that on the Fed, saying, if the Fed cuts rates, we should have some more reacceleration. We'll see if we get that, and we'll see what the rate cutting schedule looks like and what the CME Watch tool tells us about upcoming meetings. Furthermore, despite his bullish outlook, Wren advises caution regarding potential turbulence. He states that the broadening 2026 equity market advance is unlikely to be in a straight line. Investors should remain aware that lingering uncertainties regarding tariffs and new technology adoption could produce volatility in equity prices. Oh, there you go. Also, economic data here. New York Fed President John Williams will speak at 8:30 here. That starts in about 18 minutes. And November's existing home sales data and December's consumer sentiment data will be released at 10. All right, let's go ahead. You know what? I'm actually going to start with the Oracle chart here for this TikTok story as it's tied to Oracle. Here's what we got. So we had talked about Oracle really kind of coming in. The news about the data center really kind of spooked not only Oracle, but the other data center connected stocks. We had talked in happy hour quite a bit about potential buy levels here. They ranged anywhere between 160 and 175. It's worth noting that the 500-day moving average is down here at 171.81. So there's definitely a moving average to catch this as well. Again, just to kind of reiterate, when I'm looking at a declining stock price into one of these moving averages, I would describe it as the most bullish possible setup is actually a break of the moving average and a very quick recapture. And so looking at Oracle here, this is kind of what I was hoping for. Maybe we'll still get it, but right now we actually have positive news that has Oracle trading up almost 4.5%. Remember, it was higher in the overnight session. Looks like the high there was about 191. We're settling here 187.84. We'll see if Oracle resumes some of its weakness. I know that this has kind of been a story that's been floating around for a while, and it looks like it's coming to a conclusion. So perhaps this is the catalyst that Oracle needed to turn around. We shall see. But this is what the chart looks like. And just remember, we are pretty big sell-off here, pretty big recent downtrend, easy for me to say. So we'll see where this actually finds some support and turns around. Now, what's going on here? TikTok strikes a deal from New York Venture with Oracle, Silver Lake, as ByteDance loosens its grip to avoid the U.S. ban. TikTok has signed binding agreements with a group of investors, including Oracle, Silver Lake, and Emirati investment firm MGX to form a new TikTok U.S. entity. This was reported by the Associated Press, which cited an internal memo. The deal is expected to close January 22nd of next year. And in the memo, TikTok CEO Shuzi Chu confirmed the agreement to employees, thanking them for navigating years of uncertainty. Under the proposed structure, 50% of new U.S. venture will be owned by a group of investors. Among them, Oracle, Silver Lake, and MGX will each hold 15% stakes. ByteDance will remain a 19.9% interest, will retain, a 19.9% interest, while affiliates of existing ByteDance investors will own another 30.1%, according to that memo. The company did not disclose the identities of all the investors. TikTok and the White House did not immediately respond. We'll, of course, update that. I actually do have an update coming for you here in one of these stories. The new entity will be governed by a 7-member board with a majority of American directors and will operate under provisions designed to protect Americans' data and U.S. national security. Makes sense. U.S. user data will be stored domestically on systems operated by Oracle. Big dubs right there. The algorithm will be the algorithm will be retained using U.S. data to ensure content recommendations are insulated from foreign influence. We'll see if that works. While the U.S. venture will oversee content moderation and policies. The agreement follows bipartisan legislation signed by former President Joe Biden that threatened to ban TikTok unless it cut ties with China-based ByteDance. TikTok briefly went offline ahead of the January 2025 deadline before President Trump issued an executive order keeping the app operational while negotiations continued. So we already just took a look at Oracle. It does have some of the declining edge ranking scores, which is unfortunate, but I think there is still a turnaround here. And eventually, Oracle will be a buy and will be a pretty good long side trade. Okay, now the big news yesterday that we talked about and traded about revolved around cannabis, believe it or not. President Trump signed an executive order on Thursday directing federal agencies to loosen regulations on marijuana, marking one of the most significant shifts in federal cannabis policy in recent decades. The order directs U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi to expedite the process of rescheduling marijuana to Schedule III under the Controlled Substances Act. This would put the popular psychoactive substance right along other common painkillers, which means it still falls short of full legalization. Marijuana is currently classified as a Schedule I substance, a category reserved for drugs deemed to have no accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse. According to the White House fact sheet, the order is aimed at removing barriers to scientific research and improving guidance for patients and healthcare providers. The order said marijuana's legal classification has limited research for decades, constraining studies on safety, effectiveness, and long-term health outcomes, and added that reclassification would allow researchers to use real-world evidence to better assess impacts on vulnerable populations, including adolescents and young adults. The order also outlined steps to improve access to hemp-derived cannabinoid products, particularly cannabinol or CBD. While CBD products are not controlled substances under the federal law, they currently lack a clear regulatory pathway through the Food and Drug Administration. It directs the White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Legislative, Political, and Public Affairs to work with Congress to expand access to appropriate full-spectrum CBD products while restricting those that pose serious health risks. Now, stop me if you've heard this before, but Washington is split over it. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer supported Trump's order, calling it, quote, a step in the right direction, end quote, on Thursday. The Democratic senator from New York also added that more work needs to be done to, quote, decriminalize cannabis, ease overly restrictive banking regulations that stall industry progress in states where it's legal, and rectify harms done by the war on drugs, end quote. For anyone that wants to go through the infographics, the tweets, or any of the stuff discussed for this story, that link is in the chat there for you. Member of Trump's own party, however, opposed the move, with Senator Ted Bunn from North Carolina issuing a statement calling the order short-sighted policy decision that will have detrimental effects on the nation's youth. Quote, we should not be handing tax breaks to bad actors and foreign drug cartels to advertise a drug that will harm Americans, end quote. The announcement initially sent several cannabis stocks higher before gains faded by the close, a move analysts attributed to the absence of any cannabis banking provisions in the order, which the industry had been expecting, according to a Reuters report. Now is the time to pause for a sec and take a victory lap here for the show, not just for me in 13, but for everyone else, because this theme that they're hitting on about why those stocks came back in is exactly something that we have been on for, at this point now. I actually think that this has been over a calendar year that we have been on this. We've definitely noticed that even if the opinion in the public zeitgeist is changing here, the reality is for these stocks to work and for these companies to work, they're going to have to put up numbers. They're going to need access to banking. They're going to need to be able to do all of that in a regulated fashion. And that's still not here yet. So as far as further catalysts, this is definitely something that we're still going to be looking for. Again, just a shout out to the whole group. This is something that we have been on for a long time. Nothing has really changed here. So good to see the reclassification. We'll see what happens out of some of the scientific study and things of that nature. But as far as the stocks actually popping and being great, being absolutely great stocks to trade, it really seems like we got more confirmation that the banking changes need to happen before that's the case. Okay, little update from one of our stories yesterday. Remember, we told you that Instacart was under fire for testing some AI pilot program that raised the price of identical goods from identical stores depending on who was ordering it. Yikes. Well, in an update to that, Instacart to refund $60 million to settle the FTC probe over misleading subscription and delivery claims. Operating as an online grocery service, Instacart has agreed to refund $60 million to its customers for settlement for allegations for deceptive marketing and billing practices made by the FTC. The FTC accused Instacart of misleading customers with false advertising about free delivery services, only to charge them for the service. The company also allegedly failed to inform customers signing up for a free trial that would automatically enroll them in the subscription program. Christopher Mufferidge, I really hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, director of the FTC Bureau of Consumer Protection, said Instacart deceived customers by promoting free delivery while charging for groceries and not informing free trial users that they would automatically be enrolled in its subscription program. Under the settlement, Instacart is required to clearly disclose items and secure explicit informed consent for subscription-based transactions. The company did not immediately respond. On Thursday, the company's stock dropped following reports of the FTC probe into its AI-based pricing tool. This is what I was referring to at the open. The FTC had issued civil investigative demand to Instacart seeking information about its Eversight pricing tool. Notably, the probe comes days after it became the first grocery partner to launch an app on ChatGPT, enabling end-to-end shopping and instant checkout without a conversation, from meal inspiration to delivery using Instacart's real-time network and OpenAI models. So while I know that this is not this is not like a change on the exact story that we were talking about yesterday, it just seems like the bad news continues to come here. So they deceptively signed people up for a subscription, got caught, got busted, got ruled against, and now have to refund customers. Part of me wonders if customers are just going to wake up and all of a sudden see a balance in their Instacart account. If that's the case, what do you think they're going to do with that? To me, it seems like they're just going to order more stuff. Right? That it effectively is going to feel like free money to them. I would imagine they continue to use that. I'm very curious to see what happens with the whole Eversight pricing tool, the AI thing that we discussed yesterday about selling identical goods at different prices. I almost think that that's worse than the deceptive subscription sign up here. We'll see how it shakes out, but bad news here. And I know we kind of ran the gamut yesterday talking about who uses these, who would use these, why would you use these, all of that. To me, it's just the convenience is one thing, but I really feel like you're just spending more money that you just don't necessarily have to. And now we're having things layered on top of this where the companies are deceiving people. None of this sounds any good. To me, it just seems like a pass, right? It just seems like a pass. Go out and go pick up the food yourself. It really doesn't take that long. It really doesn't take that long. We'll see how that all shakes out here. Okay, next, let me actually go back to a chart, break this up a little bit. We're going to take a look at Lilly's chart. Eli Lilly, ticker LLY. This has been just an absolute monster. And obviously the GLP-1 angle. The other thing about this is that the recent move from the lows of August that took us back to all-time highs. Look at this. That breakout level right up here at what, 978, and let's just call it 980-ish. That breakout level, look how clean this trading action was. Breakout, pullback, hold of that level, and then a move back towards the highs in the process, recapturing the 20. Tell you what, this chart looks pretty good. We'll see if Eli Lilly can get back above 1100 here. Stocks up 0.16% here in the pre-market. Now, the news that's going on here, Mounjaro maker Eli Lilly improves in quality as Bank of America sees more room for stock upside with $3 billion in sales by 2026. Weight loss drug Mounjaro manufacturer Eli Lilly, ticker LLY, has crossed a significant threshold in Benzinga's Edge stock rankings, moving into the top decile for quality this week. This improvement in fundamental strength coincides with a bullish note from Bank of America, which argues the market is still underestimating the pharmacological giant's dominance in the obesity sector. In the latest weekly data update, Eli Lilly's quality score advanced from 89.66 to 90.04. This uptick pushes the stock into the elite tier of the market, ranking it higher than 90% of its peers. According to Benzinga's ranking methodology, the quality metric is composite score that evaluates companies' operational efficiency and financial health by analyzing historical profitability and fundamental indicators. This improvement complements the stock's near-perfect growth score of 99.38, highlighting a rare combination of rapid expansion and operational stability. We talk a lot about this stuff with Tim Melvin. I know we didn't have him this week. We will continue to bring him on here. Tim Melvin really helped us develop this ranking system so that we can very easily prioritize, rank, and then scan for these stocks. And the reason I wanted to highlight this is because, A, Eli Lilly has been a monster trade for our group and really just in the overall market for the past several years. Looks like actually has a pretty good chart, and it is in kind of rarefied air here with very high scores on two very important metrics. The improvement in financial health metrics aligns with Bank of America's assessment that Lilly's long-term value is not fully priced in. Analyst Jason Gerbery recently reiterated a buy rating, noting that while the company is already a leader in injectable GLPs like Zepbound, the market is undercalling the potential of its next phase. Gerbery said that there remains room for stock upside as Lilly continues to execute on key obesity launches and de-risk new therapies across nearly every conceivable market segment. Specifically, Bank of America points to the 2026 launch of Orforglipron, Lilly's oral weight loss pill, while the consensus estimate for the drug sits near $1 billion. Bank of America forecasts $3 billion in revenues for 2026, driven by the drug's ease of use and global scalability compared to injectable alternatives. Lilly further solidified its quality narrative on Thursday with positive phase 3 data for Orforglipron. The Attain-Maintain trial showed that the oral pill successfully helped patients maintain weight loss after switching from injectable treatments like Wegovy and Zepbound. By securing a viable maintenance option, Lilly is effectively de-risking its future revenue streams, a key factor for improving its financial health scores. Let me know if you guys like Eli Lilly, if there is more to run here. I know the recent pullback on the chart gave a great chart setup there, but let me know if anyone's looking here for Eli Lilly to move more to the upside. By the way, as discussed earlier, New York Fed President John Williams is going to speak. He's actually speaking right now. Looks like that's live here on CNBC. So we will see what we get out of that. All right. You didn't think the AI wars were over, did you? And they're not going to be for a while. Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, expressed concerns about Google's dominance in the field of artificial intelligence. He believed that Google's immense power and business model could pose a significant threat within the AI space. Altman, in a conversation with Alan Kentrovitz of the Big Technology podcast, highlighted the potential danger that Google's AI capabilities pose. Quote, Google is still a huge threat. Extremely powerful company, end quote. He reflected on the situation in 2023 when Google's AI efforts were not as effective due to their product direction. Altman suggested that if Google had chosen to focus on OpenAI at that time, the latter would have been in a really bad place. Quote, I think they would have been able to smash us, end quote. Altman also noted that Google's business model is one of the strongest in the tech industry, something our group has been saying for as long as I can remember. I think there are a lot of folks that have active, long Google positions with longer time frames. So it looks like our group's also putting their money where their mouth is. However, he expressed skepticism about the effectiveness of Google simply integrating AI into existing systems like web search, suggesting that a complete redesign with AI at the forefront would be more successful. Altman's remarks come amid a rapidly evolving AI landscape. Earlier this month, OpenAI declared a code red crisis, pausing its monetization strategy to focus on product quality. Meanwhile, Jim Cramer predicted that OpenAI's future could be in jeopardy following Google's advancements in AI technology. The CNBC host had posted, quote, "It was only a matter of time before we heard from OpenAI about how it fell behind, and the rush of tens of millions of users right to Gemini 3 would be upon us," end quote. Altman's analysis of Google also comes amid reports that OpenAI was eyeing a potential $1 trillion IPO, with the AI startup in discussions with investors for a $100 billion fundraise at a $750 billion valuation. Wild stuff there. All right, folks, it's Friday. We are almost at the weekend. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to kick our Friday up a notch. We're going to bring on Mark Petrino and see how he's doing. Let's go ahead and do that. Well, Mark, I screwed up again. I didn't play your specialized intro. I played the generic one, so I formally apologize to you on this.
Damn it, man. I'll tell you, Ryan, you better not let this happen again.
With me anywhere, man. I just keep disappointing. What can I say? Mark, happy Friday. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. So, kind of interesting on something. I mean, I guess people are talking about it, but I haven't really heard people talk about it. But I think one of the biggest fears with this AI stuff that's coming around is the increases in productivity could lead to deflation. And in my opinion, I mean, economists still debate it, but one of the reasons why we had the Great Depression was because of deflation. You had all these increases in productivity. Like if it was 1920 and you were a farmer, you had a mule and a wagon. In 1920, you had a tractor and a pickup truck. So these increases in productivity allowed them to bring way more products to market, and that drove prices down. And then they just exacerbated it by putting more stuff on the market. And that's why to this day, certain farmers get paid to not grow things because they don't want the markets to get glutted. So I don't know. I mean, I just think that's a concern that I haven't really heard people talk about. And I know, there's obviously the whole job thing. Now, in the institutional investment industry where I was for 2 decades, one of the ways that a portfolio manager, you have these investment teams and you have your portfolio manager, and they're the person who decides what's in the account, what stocks are they going to buy and sell. You have the trader, which is what I was, who decides how to buy and sell the stocks, how to go into the market without spooking it and get good prices and so forth and so on. And then you have these teams of analysts. And one of the main roles of the junior analysts is the portfolio manager will say to them, "Hey, look, I think retailers are going to do really good. So I want to make some investments in retailers. Why don't you guys go find me some retailers for me to look at? I want stocks that have a market cap of this, a PE of that, an ROI of this, so forth and so on." And then the team would go out and spend a couple of days looking for these stocks. Well, now that PM could just say to one of these AI things like, "Hey, identify companies with these parameters." And, so right there in my own industry, I can see how there is going to be job reductions because of this stuff. I don't think it's ever going to master the markets, because if the market could ever be mastered, the market would cease to exist, because you need a buyer and a seller on every trade. Yeah, anyway, I don't know. I just think that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, no, that would be interesting. And we'll see how all this shakes out. I think it's going to surprise some people. I really do. You got any charts you want to go over for us today?
Yeah, of course. I will share my screen here. Let's see. All right. Am I sure?
Yep, you got it.
I think this is kind of interesting market action here. This is a good lesson. So this is this cannabis ETF. This one is Amplify Alternative, symbols MJ. So President Trump yesterday signed the thing for federal legalization or a reduction in
reclassification of the drug. Yeah,
reclassification. And you would have thought that this would have made the stock take off, or the stocks take off. Well, here's what happened. This is a perfect example of what we call buy on the rumor, sell on the news. People might have heard that before.
Yes, sir.
The news is so widely anticipated to push the price up that everyone who wants to buy does so before the news comes out. Now, when the news finally comes out, there's no one left to buy, and the price can only go down. And that, I think, is what happened here. And it's similar like when NVIDIA had really good earnings, or Palantir had really good earnings. and yet the stocks go down. It's the same thing. People just buy before the numbers come out. We have to remember this is a market. You have buyers and sellers. It's supply and demand. And if the market runs out of demand, then it can only go down. So that's what's going on here. Now, in terms of the S&P, it's another kind of a good example of a good trading lesson. So yesterday, you can see we were up 76 basis points, right? So it seemed like a good day, and I guess it was. But if you look at it, we're still in a downtrend.
Yep.
So you had an up day, but it was still in a downtrend. So I'll use my oft-cited football analogy. All right, so you're bringing the ball down the field, and it's 2nd and 8, and the defense gets a sack. But then the next play, the quarterback throws for a first down. So even though the defense had one kind of pushback, the offense is still in control. Now, I think what's really important to watch here, like always, but more so than typical times, is NVIDIA. And what will NVIDIA do here with this 175 level? So it's like trading right at it. If NVIDIA doesn't get through here and fails over the next couple of days, it'll probably start to trend lower. And then if in conjunction with Tesla, which just broke out, if Tesla can't hold this breakout and it reverses, well, then the market's going to head south probably until the end of the year. If Tesla can hold and NVIDIA can break through that, then I think the market should hold up and will probably be flat or maybe slightly up until the end of the year here.
Okay. All right, good. I thought for sure when you were going to do that football analogy, I thought somehow you were going to cleverly tie it to a screen pass that's actually a fumble on a 2-point conversion that gets recovered in the end zone. Can you believe that? I don't think I've ever seen that before.
I didn't watch the game last night. What happened?
So Seattle's down big, and they're making a comeback, and they score a touchdown and go for 2 because they have to. Darnold throws what looks like a screen pass, but because it's backwards, the receiver ends up not catching it. It becomes a fumble, but it bounces into the end zone. Everyone thinks it's an incomplete pass. The Rams stop playing. One of the Seattle players goes into the end zone and picks up the ball. They review the 2-point conversion, rule it a fumble, and score because it was a clear recovery in the end zone by Seattle.
Really? Wow.
You should go back and watch the clips of the end of that game. The second half was an absolute madhouse. And I thought, I'm sorry for digressing from the stock talk here, but I thought for sure we were going to get a red team, blue team analogy that tied it into the game yesterday. So sorry about that.
Aren't the Bears playing tomorrow?
They are.
Who are they playing?
They're playing the Packers again. It's a rematch city. We are.
Oh, wow.
It is good. This city is going to be electric. The entire city, Mark, is going to be electric. Like,
wow. Cool.
I don't think people are going to sit on Saturday. They're going to be tailgating for 7 to 8 hours, getting all liquored up prior to this Saturday night game. And it's a Saturday. The Bears rarely play on Saturday. Chicago is going to be popping tomorrow.
Awesome, man. Well, I guess I will be rooting for Chicago myself.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's get our Patriots Bears rematch in the Super Bowl. That would be fun for us, Mark.
All righty.
All right. Sorry about that. I'm really excited. It's Friday, but let's get back to stocks here. Did you have any other stocks that you wanted to cover? Should I ask the group for some of them?
Yeah. Let me just point out a couple that I just wrote down on my list here.
Okay.
Just for potential things I'm looking at for trade.
So, perfect. LNG. We were actually talking about natural gas recently.
Yeah. So let's first look at natural gas.
Fabulous.
So we have an example here. Now, remember, if you're trading a commodity-based stock, you should really have an eye on the commodity. So if you're trading a natural gas stock, you should watch the commodities. Now, this could be a situation here. Well, it already has been. So we go into this big sell-off here, and where did we find support? Right at this level here. So we have to ask ourselves, was that coincidence? And the answer is no. It's a former resistance level. So you tend to get support at former resistance levels. So if this holds, one way to play a reversal here would be with this LNG stock here. So it's oversold and it's at support. Now, the way to look at this, or I think a way to look at this is we're at the race here and the starter has said on your mark, get set, but they haven't said go, right? So we're poised for a rebound, but it hasn't started yet. So we need to look for a trigger or the starter saying go. And one way that we could do that is if this blue line here crosses back above the lower threshold in the RSI, that could be your trigger to buy. Now, this means you have a reason for buying. One of the biggest problems that retail traders have is that they buy things and they have no thought about how they're going to potentially get out of it. And the reason why is because buying is a fun thing to do. It's fun to buy something new,
I'd
right?
say.
You know,
Sir.
whether it's the PlayStation 2 I asked my wife to get me for Christmas, or whether it's buying a stock. It's like fun, right? Now,
PlayStation 2, Mark, you're dating yourself. That was decades ago.
well, whatever the most recent PlayStation is.
5.
If there's any gamers out there, I would appreciate a little advice.
I used to be one, but I've really fallen off as I've bent more towards exercising and being outdoors. So,
well, now that I'm in my full-blown midlife crisis here, I'm sporting hats like I did in college and looking to play video games. But
hey, you already got one compliment on the deadhead hat here today, so no big deal on that. You might be in the right group, Mark. That's what it sounds like.
Nice. So anyway, buying is easy, and people don't think about the exit strategy. So whether you have a profit or a loss, they get like a deer in the headlights. They just don't know what to do. So when you get into a trade, you should know how you're going to get out. So just an example here, if this triggered, one way you could play it is say, all right, my initial stop out will be down here. If this thing reverses and the support breaks, there's a really good chance it's going to go lower. So here I just blow out for a small loss and walk away. If it rallies and I'm right, this is going to be a target for selling right around 202 or 203. A lot of times in markets, when you get to a level that had been support, there can be resistance. There's going to be people who bought here who thought they made the right move, but now that the support broke, they're underwater, and a lot of them are still watching it saying, all right, I'll hold on to this thing, but if I can ever get out at break even, I'm going to. So if it gets back up to here, there's going to be remorseful buyers placing sellers, and if there's enough, this support will become resistance. It's a very common thing in the market. The third exit strategy is if it starts to go your way and you get some money on the table, then you start to move your trailing stop up underneath it.
Yeah, that's what I like.
And if that way, trailing the stop is great because you could be wrong and still walk away with money. If I say, all right, I'm pretty sure this thing could get to 203. Well, let's just say I'm wrong and it only gets to 197. And then it turns over at 197 and your stop is at 196. Well, you were wrong, but guess what? You're still walking away with a profitable trade. And that's what really this is all about. It's not about precision. It's like golf. It's not about precision. It's about what's your score at the end of the round. And I think it was Keegan Bradley. I don't know who said it, but there's no pictures on scorecards. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
whether it's a beautiful shot or it's a bad shot that just somehow ended up in a good place, You
know what, Mark? That's great. I've never heard that Keegan Bradley quote before. I'm going to tell myself that when I absolutely skull one, but it skips over the bunker and rolls out into the fairway, I'm going to act like I did it. You know what? There's no pictures on the scorecard. Who gives a damn? That was a good shot. That was a good miss, as they say.
Exactly. And it's the same thing as in trading. It's very analogous. The difference between a good trader and a bad trader, or a successful one and an unsuccessful one, is the unsuccessful traders take big losses. The successful traders take small losses. So if we go to our golf analogy, if you can get through the round without blowing up, without putting the ball in the woods or the pond, you're going to end up with a good score. So it's not about offense, it's about defense.
Yeah, the last time I bought golf balls, I went into the pro shop. I said, "Hey, where are the balls that don't have the water hazard magnets in them?" Because I keep buying the wrong balls. Guy laughed at me and then pointed me to the Pro V ones. Okay.
All right, you can take some questions.
Yeah, I was going to say, I actually have a stock that I'd like to start with here. Can we start with Oracle? Because there's some news here that Oracle is basically taking over TikTok U.S. operations. Oracle's been in a big sell-off recently, kind of a downtrend. Obviously, they had the data center headline that spooked Oracle and other AI stocks. But now we're actually trading up by about 4.5% here today. I'm wondering, we filled a gap recently. So I'm wondering here what you see in this chart, what phase of the trade that we're in, and maybe if there's something here.
All right. Let's take a look at this. So not surprisingly, look at where we found support. Right. So it's all about understanding these price levels. Well, it's not all about it, but that's a big part of it. So when back here, for whatever reason, Oracle had found resistance around 191. It was going higher. Remember, it's supply and demand. There wasn't enough supply to fill all the demand, so the buyers had to really jack the price up. For whatever reason, the sellers came out of the woodwork here, and it was resistance level, and it went lower. Now it got broken. When we go into this big sell-off, where did we find support? The same level that had been resistance. People who sold here buying back here. Now, this is another example of a market move that's not a coincidence. Look at where it found support. The same level that was resistance back here. So people who are selling here and selling here regret doing so, and they're going to buy back here. So this morning we're bouncing. We're trading around here. I would look at this for a trade if this thing got back above 191.
Okay.
Because there's a good chance there's going to be some resistance there, and it's at 188, so it's only a couple dollars away. So maybe it gets to 193, and it looks like it's going to hold. That's a breakout trade. When you clear a resistance level, we call that a breakout. And the reason why it can be bullish is it shows that the sellers who created the resistance have left the market. And again, supply and demand. If you're taking supply off of the market, meaning sellers leave, new buyers are going to have to start to outbid each other and cut ahead of each other to draw sellers back in, and that forces the shares into an uptrend.
All right. Good stuff there. I'm going to keep my eye on Oracle. Love the breakdown there. We did have another suggestion here from the chat. This is always a popular one here. How about SoFi? SOFI.
Much of my students are starting to use their brokerage platform. I'm hearing.
SoFi's brokerage platform?
Yeah.
What is the early feedback on it? Good, bad?
Yeah, that is good. Yeah.
It's good. Okay. We got the same thing here for Robinhood. I feel like there's a handful of folks that really don't like Robinhood. Maybe they were part of that whole thing where you couldn't close transactions back around COVID. But I feel like I hear more and more positive things about Robinhood and some other of these newer brokers. That's why I'm interested on SoFi. That's good to know, though.
Yeah. And there's also a place called Momo, or Moomoo, MOO.
Yeah, I've used that. Yes, they were full disclosure. They actually sponsored the stream for a small period, and I signed up for an account and used them. Be honest, that was not bad. They actually had one of the best mobile apps, and that includes Thinkorswim. They had one of the best mobile apps for any brokerage I've ever played around with. So I'm familiar with Moomoo.
Well, anyway, looking at SoFi, I mean, to me, this just looks like it's just going sideways. It's just kind of range bound.
Yeah.
For a trade, to me, this just looks neutral. Unless there's some kind of news on it, I don't see it making any kind of significant moves over the next few days.
Okay, so this just kind of wait for this to pick a direction, right? We're sideways right now. No rush to go out and trade this one. Maybe pick a direction.
Yeah, see how we're kind of in this range here. So
yeah. Okay. I got another one. Well, how much time do we have? Oh, we got it. Ocean. You're good, right? You're good on time?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I got a couple more here. I'm going to go with one from Kathy here. Kathy's asking about Roku. Kathy, did you ask about this last week and we didn't get to it? If so, this is the universe coming into order here. Let's take a look at Roku.
All right. What do we got going on here? What does this consider? Technology services?
Yeah, these are the ones that do like the TVs, the actual Roku TVs, and then the Roku sticks so that you can get streaming content on television.
Yeah, I have one. So, this looks pretty decent to me, actually, here. So we talked about a breakout, and, a lot of times when you break out, like we just saw, some of the sellers regret selling, and they go to buy their shares back. So if you can get this, what I call the conversion process, if what was resistance converts into support, it tends to set the stage for the next move higher. So my guess is that this will continue to trend higher. And let's see here. So we still got some time, or we got a lot of ways to go for all-time highs. So I don't think I'd worry about that. Yeah, I mean, it looks to me like this could trend higher. I don't see any obvious areas of heavy potential resistance until we get all the way up to here. Yeah.
Okay.
But short term, yeah, I think that looks pretty good. We're taking out this important level here. You know, you can even extend it back a little bit farther there.
Yeah, I was going to say that level actually looks like it does go back further. So,
Did I show you guys the gap last week?
No, I don't think so.
Check this out. This is really just an amazing example of market memory. So this level here, 30 has been resistance for 25 years. And this down here, this support around 650 first became support in August or September of 01. And it was support through June of 23. So when we talk about market memory, that important price levels can stay important for a long time. This is a pretty amazing example of it.
Yeah, it sure is. Actually, looks like a pretty good range to trade too. You had a couple of times where you could have got that $6-7 and maybe sold it near 30. Okay, I've got a couple more here. Lunar is one of them. LUNR.
All right, so this looks talking about trading a range.
Yeah.
So we got some, I would say around 820, you got some pretty well-defined support. And then up around here, the resistance is a little more choppy, but it's still pretty well, actually, that's very well-defined. So, yeah, I mean, if this thing was to drop back to around here, I would think about buying if I didn't own it. And if I owned it and I was a trader and I was looking for a price target, right around 13.5 is where I would be. A lot of times when you get to resistance and you don't get through, you start to roll over. And there's a reason for that. Remember, we always want to look at these charts in the context of what does it tell us about supply and demand. Some of the sellers who create the resistance get impatient and anxious, and they start to worry that they're going to get undercut. They know the buyers are going to go to whoever is willing to sell at the lowest price. So as a result, they reduce their offer prices, and then other sellers do it too, and it starts in a snowball effect. So that's why when we're getting close to resistance, it's typically pretty dangerous to buy a stock that's at resistance. You generally want to wait to see if it breaks out before you jump in.
Yeah, my strategy has been selling partial at that resistance level. Wait and see if you get that breakout. If you don't, then figure out a stop above your cost so that's at least a successful trade. Okay, let's see. We still got some more time here. Palantir and Next. We do those?
Yes, Palantir. Yeah, I mean, this is another one that is really just kind of range bound. I mean, it cleared back above this important 175 level. So this is what we want to look for in NVIDIA, kind of that similar action. Will it get back above? But again, not too much to see here from a trading point of view. Really just kind of gone sideways. Although I guess it is actually at the top of this range here. So the top of this range is about 187.5 or so. So maybe if you're looking for a trade here, if it breaks out above that up to the upside of this range, that would be a good place to jump in.
Yeah, I think one of the hardest things that I think about like Palantir, like this is obviously one of the top companies. This is going to, they're dominating right now. Just an awesome company. The one thing that I think is the hardest, and maybe you can kind of speak to the psychology of this, when a company is so popular and just being talked about all the time, it almost feels like there's a propensity to want to trade it. But when you take a step back and look at the chart, you might see something just like this, where it's like, this is kind of sideways. The actual right move here is to wait. And I think that's actually, that can be difficult. The more popular the stock, that's how I'll describe it. The more popular the stock, the harder it is to actually wait until you get a really good setup. I look at what you have highlighted there, right, Mark, in the I don't see any trade here. I don't see any trade here. I would want this to come in. Frankly, that 175, although that's pretty clean and observable on the chart, frankly, I'd like that to come back in closer to 160, 150, where that other line is.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the main reasons why people lose money is because they overtrade. They feel like they always need to be involved. And Jesse Livermore, who was this great trader back in the 20s, said he didn't make his money by being in the market. He made his money by being out of the market. And what he meant was he had the wherewithal and the discipline to stay on the sidelines until he saw something that was really compelling. A lot of people are, you got to ask yourself, are you trading for dopamine? Or are you trading to make money? I guess either way is it's up to you. But
that's an easy one for me, Mark. I get my dopamine hits from plenty of other things like golf and football. Give me the money when I'm trading. That's what we're here for.
Oh gosh, I could just see if they're talking about having this 24-hour trading again now, and I think that's just really a bad idea. And I could I could see people in a bar at 2 a.m. trading stocks, just getting wiped out.
Yeah, I don't like it either, but I feel good enough about my own ability to kind of focus on what works for me, is instead of turning into the dude at the bar at 2 a.m. Blowing up his account. That's just, I don't like it. I'm with you on that. Can we do next real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Don't drink and trade. Yeah, I'd say for sure.
It's like here we have those, it's called Keno.
Yeah.
And you see these people, they just sit in the bar and they just stare at this thing and just play money. And there's no strategy to it. It's like a slot machine.
It's crazy. Mark, around me, they put different types of gambling machines in things like gas stations around here. It's a new thing. And I'll go in there and it's like I'm going in there to get a bottle of water from the cooler, right? And I'm tripping over somebody that's sitting at a slot machine, just hitting the button. And it's like, what is this? I was in Minnesota for a wedding recently, and apparently bingo is gigantic at the bars up there. Like some of the bars have like revered bingo nights, and it's again, that's another game where there's just no strategy to it. I get it. It's fun, especially when you win, but you don't always win. I don't know. It's odd to me too. I feel odd. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah, I'm generally against gambling, but I might feel differently this weekend after I win the Powerball. So
okay. Yeah. You win the Powerball. Let's talk, because I'd like to disappear.
Anyway, next decade, sorry. Yeah, this looks like we're making a turn here, potentially. So we dropped again to a level here that had been resistance. It became support. Now it's support again. And it looks like we've found a bottom, and now the blue team has taken over. The blue team made the old goal line stand, and now it looks like we're heading back up in the other direction. So this looks to me like it's made a reversal in trend.
Okay, so maybe the bottom is in here. Maybe the trade is good here on next. Okay, Mark, you good? You good for the day?
Yeah, I could take one more. I got a 9 o'clock meeting, but
okay, perfect. There was one more here. Let me scroll back up here. ELF. This is one we haven't looked at in some time, I feel like. ELF.
All right, what do we got here? Yeah, now this is again, I think to me this just looks kind of neutral. I don't really see much going on in here. Just kind of in the middle of this range, and the momentum's neutral. All right, everyone. So I guess next week is Christmas, so I'm probably not going to be here.
Well, yeah, that's really up to you. Full disclosure here, we are doing the show on Friday. So I will be here 13, I think 13. Well, maybe I should ask him. I guess I just kind of assumed. We will be doing a show on Friday. So if you want and you're around, you're welcome. But if you're recovering from your eggnog from the day before, that's okay too, Mark.
So same time, 8:30?
Yeah, same time.
Okay. I will plan on being here. If I can't make it, I'll let you know.
Okay, no problem. I'll shoot you a message. No worries if you can or can't make it. I'll be ready for you, but if you can't, I'll fill it in for you. No problem.
Okay. All right.
All right. Great, Mark. Have a good one. And if I don't see you, have a great holiday. Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Merry Christmas to everyone out there. All right.
All right. Take care, Mark. That is Mark Petrino. Really good stuff from him as always. And really good. I feel like we ran through a lot of tickers there. And I feel like we had a couple of new ones in there, and I love every bit of that. Now, Mark's departure leaves room for 13. Let's check in how 13 is doing on a Friday. 13, first of all, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Yeah.
Thumbs up. I'll take that. Second of all, are you down for a day after Christmas morning trading stream?
Well, yeah. I mean, Mark's going to be open, right?
Well, I'm glad that you asked that. Apparently, Trump was trying to close the government for Christmas Eve and the day after Christmas, since it falls on a Thursday and it would just kind of be extending the weekend. But the market was like, nope, we're going to be open. So yes, we're going to be open, or the market's going to be open. We're going to do it on the 26th. So if you're available, giddy up. Let's do it.
I'll be here. I'll be here to see everybody. And good morning.
Okay. Awesome. Now, movers.
Yeah, let's go. Sorry, you guys in the chat are already making me laugh.
Which got you today? It's Friday. Which got you today?
Just some guy, Tennessee.
But is anyone down for drunk, high on weed trading stream? I am not going. I'll say this. I'll say this for a couple of reasons. I will not hop on a live stream, cross-faded out of my mind, trying to make money with the money that I've worked hard to earn, save, and grow. So I will officially decline that. Just some guy. I appreciate you suggesting it, but I will politely decline it.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious, but it'd probably be the last time we do anything like that.
I was going to say, I don't need to do that at all. Okay, let's go ahead, take a look at those movers.
Yeah, which there are not many. I mean, the list of movers today is very muted.
Now, it is. There is one that has been getting traded quite a bit here today, and that's ticker AZI, AutoZ Internet Tech. Stock is up 38%. I noticed there were a number of people in this show trading it, but also trading it in the Benzinga Pro ecosystem as well. We did have a piece of news here. So strategic investor CDIB confirms a $90 million initial investment into AutoZ at $3.50 per share. That's notable because it's $1.40 higher than where we're at now and much higher than where the stock started at here. Subject to definitive agreements and regulatory approvals. So not official yet, but that's right. The catalyst here. Short interest, 5.61% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover, comes on an average volume, average 100-day volume, 1.29 million. Today it's traded 16.4 million. Float on this one, 2 million. So right in our wheelhouse, if you will. What do you think here on ticker AZI?
I think that it's just moving on hopeful news. This is over a CDIB investment. They are planning to invest up to $300 million at a comprehensive price of $5 per share. The news we have today is that they want to, begin that initial investment with $90 million at $3.50 per share, but it's subject to definitive agreements and regulatory approvals. So they don't have the money yet, but this stock is trading up as if it's about to be in the bank. The thing about AZI is that this is supposed to be a one-stop automotive products and services through online and offline channels in China. So this is they're looking to expand internationally with these funds. Company is actually profitable according to their income statements. So and their balance sheet, it's okay. I mean they don't have a whole lot of cash on hand, but actually, I mean, now that I look at it again, it's not that great of a balance sheet. They have more debt than they do assets, it looks like. So I'm just not sure about this one. But this, the money that they're going to be getting from this investment, that's going to change a lot for them. But
yeah,
we can try and trade it. I'm sure there's going to be some more upside potentially here. But the news for me isn't great because this isn't definitive. They don't have the money in the bank. So I don't know how high this really goes today. Maybe we hit 350 and then it comes right back in. I don't think this is one we want to stick around too long in if we're going to trade it.
Well, I'll tell you what, if we hit 350 from here at 2, that's actually a pretty decent trade. And I'm not saying it's going to do that, but if it did, that actually wouldn't be too bad. As far as I'm concerned here, I'd like this to really kind of pull back and maybe hold 2, maybe even dip beneath it and recapture it. Shake out some of the weak hands there before resuming to the upside. But okay, AZI, we shall see. Good to move on, 13?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, next one here is going to be Fold. This one, no trade. Amicus, therapeutic shares are trading higher after the company announced it will be acquired by BioMarin. Kathy, more biotech and pharmaceutical M&A. Remember how you were saying that seemed to be a pretty big theme there? Looks like we got another one here. So Fold, grats if you had it. A 30% premium here this morning that you woke up to, but no trade for us going forward. Next I have here is NRXS, Neura Access. Volume is actually pretty low here. Stock's up by about 13%. I actually didn't look at this one earlier here today, but there is. What's that?
It seems like this just got going not that long ago.
Yeah, I think you're right. No wonder I didn't see anything there. Okay, next, Neura Access achieves medical coverage policy milestone, expanding access to approximately 45 million additional covered lives. Okay. New policy coverage for precutaneous electrical nerve field stimulation. Oh my gosh. They abbreviate that PENFS. PENFS. That's not going to go over well. Okay. Anyway, marching forward here, a quick peek at the short interest. 2.1% of the float is shorted with 2.29 days to cover. That comes on an average 100-day volume of 378,000. We've done 1.5 million here today. Float's 8.2 million. So what do you think? You think we get a trade here on this one?
Let me just look at this real quick because I didn't go through this one. And yeah, that just threw me off.
Yeah, I know it did.
So yeah, the volume's not great in this one yet. Might get better. We already hit the high of the pre-market. I mean, if this starts to get more volume, I could see maybe this going up near $4. There's a high back from October of 396. It might run into resistance at, but we haven't really seen too many closes above $4 in the past couple of years. Only one day did we actually open above $4. We came right back down. That was on what is this? I saw my drawing on there from the last time we traded this, the 20th of May. So I don't know what the news was on the 20th of May. I'll have to go back and look at it, but that was the only other time where we were trading above $4. It came right back in that same day. So if this gives you an upside move out of the gate, maybe sell into that, and then I don't know what's going to happen afterwards.
NRXS, 20th of May, first ever FDA clearance for the treatment of pediatric FAP, or functional dyspepsia, and associated nausea symptoms.
And then they had an offering.
And then they had an offering right after that. $5 million registered direct offering that happened at 325. You're exactly right.
Yep. So, be careful if you're going to trade this one. I mean, that was like the next day that it did that. So you probably have some time if you're going to trade it today. But now you know what this company does. They like to do offerings after news.
Well, there you go. Got you prepared there. Okay, let's see. What else do we have here on the movers list?
There's a whole lot of great stuff because a lot of things that have some elevated prices right now are not moving up on very much volume. Sorry to interrupt you there. Go ahead.
You weren't sorry, but that's okay. White Fiber, ticker WYFI. White Fiber shares are trading higher after the company announced its subsidiary, Novum Data Centers, executed a long-term co-location agreement with AI infrastructure provider Nscale Global Holdings. So it looks like we got this news in the after hours yesterday. We popped this about $3. We're holding higher here by 16.75%. Looks like that was an $865 million deal, collaboration deal. All right, so that's what's good. 10-year collaboration deal, $865 million. That's what's driving White Fiber higher here by just shy of 17%. 9.81% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. The average 100-day volume is 1.2 million. Today it's done 740,000. Float is 11.14 million, and with the price that this stock is, feel like this one could move around. What do you see here? You like the fact that this is maybe kind of holding the area from the pop yesterday? I know we're beneath VWAP. Maybe we'll make a run at it here today.
This just printed its all-time low yesterday, so timely reversal, I suppose. We went as high as 18.18 in the pre-market here, and we haven't really come back up since. We lost, the VWAP after we had that pre-market move up to 1818. We lost it about an hour later. Can't get back. You can't get back above VWAP. It's lost the 65 EMA. I need to see some bottoming and recapture of some of these levels if we're going to start to turn around here. And it looks like it might be trying to do that. 16, I would say 1655, 16 to 1660. That seems to be where the support is right now. But man, this thing has only traded 740,000 shares. It hasn't even traded its average yet. Typically, when you see these movers, they're well past their average 100-day volume. So I don't know. We need to see some more volume in a lot of these names. I'm a little bit concerned about how well these movers are going to work out this morning with the lack of volume that there is. Everybody's already on vacation. So yeah, I think I would be a little bit careful with this one as well. Just wait and see what if this can actually start to turn around and get back up towards the 65 EMA. That's the next big EMA that's above it. And if it does that, then maybe it recaptures the VWAP. But I would need to see some turning around here with WYFI.
Okay. Jay here giving us some pretty good context really quick. Wi-Fi, it's thin. It's a recent IPO. The last report was pretty bad because the sector is red hot, the sector of fiber optics. So it looks like this is kind of an underperformer in that sector. Okay. Next on here is a Solana-based ETF. This is up by 15%. Grats day trader on your trade. On that. And then let's see, was there anything else on here? CoreWeave levered ETF, Oracle levered ETF. So there really isn't a whole lot on here. I know some of the cannabis names are trading up a little bit after the pullback yesterday. We covered some of the cannabis news. So 13, I would turn this to you. Is there anything else that you want to take a look at, whether it's TikTok and Oracle, cannabis names, Bitcoin, AI? Is there anything that you want to take a look at? Or do you have anything else on the movers list? Because I don't really have anything left here.
Well, let's see, because one thing I was noticing was, remember how I sent you that chart for Oracle yesterday?
Yeah, you want me to pull it up?
Well,
or should I just pull up the interactive chart?
You can just pull up the interactive chart. I mean, you can even draw the falling wedge if you want as well. It's just a formation I'm just keeping an eye on, and it looks like we're coming off the bottom of that of the pattern right now, trying to come back up. We've been down here for a couple of days.
Is this about where you have it?
So yeah, I used the low from September 2nd and the low from November 25th, and that pretty much is how the bottom part of that.
Okay, so the low from September 2nd and then the low from November 25th. Got it. Okay, so this is bad, and then you just draw on the top side here, pretty much like
you pretty much already have that.
Got it.
Yeah, so there's the falling wedge. These are typically bullish reversal patterns. So we're just waiting for the price to come back up and break up to the outside, or to the upside of the top end of that pattern. So that's what I'm waiting on. Looks like we're starting to get a little bit of reversal off that. The next step for me is, can it recapture 200? So let's see if that's what we get.
Okay. All right, good stuff there on Oracle. What else do we want to break down here? Did I miss anything? I know we covered quite a lot with Mark there. NBIS, Meta, and
whatever you guys want to look at, we'll look at.
Yeah, well, let's do and the NBIS, SYM. Okay. All right, let's do that though. Let's start here with.
You're not the only one I've seen say that, Lion. I think this is a point of conversation yesterday about Oracle and how they could be the Enron of AI.
Yeah, I think the important thing to note there is that it's Enron, not Emron.
Right.
That's just semantics. Anyway, here's your NBIS chart. This was another kind of an AI name that dare I call it a darling? I know it was a great trade for several group members. What happened to my trend lines? Don't go away, drawings. What's that? Still looks like we're kind of waiting on a gap fill down here to about $65. That actually lines up amazingly with the 200-day moving average. Frankly, I would actually rather this come back in, maybe give us one of those falling wedge formations that has on Oracle, exhaust some of the sellers, maybe even go into oversold territory. And then I think this could probably bounce pretty hard.
It looks like with this candle here from Wednesday, that's kind of where it looks like it may have already started the bounce. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself and say, oh yeah, this is totally reversing, because there's still potentially a gap fill that could continue to happen here. We only got about halfway through this gap fill, and this is what I'm talking about is from September 8th to 9th. So we still are kind of filling that gap to the downside. And I do like the point about the 200-day SMA. It looks like this isn't, I'm not going to say that this is like turning around yet. We could kind of go back and forth a little bit as the price trickles lower before we actually start to recover. So I think for me, I would want to, like this, like with Oracle, I'd want to see this price back above the 20-day SMA first.
Okay.
That's sometimes these prices, they ride these moving averages down. Kind of looks like they've been, the 20-day SMA has not been very kind to this price or this stock so far. I think I would just want to see that get back above the 20-day SMA. That would give me an indication that we're recovering.
And to be honest, 13, so it's a really good point about the 20-day SMA. I mean, if you look at the chart, like its recent history here, going back to what I think. Oh my gosh, the sneeze monster totally got me there. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, I hope you're okay.
Oh my God, that came out of nowhere. That was violent. All right. Anyway, the one thing that I notice here is that, like, first of all, you're absolutely right about the 20-day. And it looks like when it gets rejected from the 20-day, it really doesn't stop moving down until it hits a moving average level, right? Like, look what it did here, right? It got rejected at the 20, came down to the 50, went back up to the 20, lost the 50, did not stop selling off until it caught the 100, went back up to the 20, did not have the strength to move higher. Now we're rolling over. Well, guess what? Next is the 200-day, and that's down there at 65. So as far as like actually wanting to take a long here, if you're waiting for a spot on the chart instead of just haphazardly buying, I would say that 65 is probably the level to look at here. And that's not even that far away from where we're at.
Yeah, like you're saying, there might not be a whole bunch of downside left. It still looks like we could fill that gap from September. But I do like that 200-day SMA down there as support.
Yeah,
so it just seems like we are going to trickle down a little bit more, but NBIS looks like it could end up returning later on once it's found some support and starts to turn around.
All right. Let's also do Nike. I know I didn't mention that when I was kind of running something down, but it looks like a lot of the folks want to take a look at Nike. And obviously we have a piece of news here. Nike shares are trading lower. The company reported a 17% decline in Greater China sales in Q2. Now, here's what the chart looks like. Nike, of course, blames tariffs, but for anyone that's followed Nike for a long time, you realize the products here are not sought after, and that's not a new thing. This has been actually going on for years. Nike's got a whole bunch of its own problems here. But looking at the chart, excuse me, we are completely breaking away from some of those moving averages. We are at a support level down here at 60, plus we've got the round number. I see the next level down here at about $53 if this continues to sell off. We're not quite in oversold territory yet, so looking inside here, given the back of this news, I actually wouldn't be terribly shocked if this tried to test one of those lower ranges even more before bouncing. It looks like we are trying to trade up off of 57 here in the pre-market. I would say this is definitely one you kind of want to wait out the open and see what happens here. Let me see if I can give you some more actual stats on that. Oh, and by the way, we got a whole bunch of price target lowerings here today from Bernstein, Piper, Barclays, Bank of America, Stifel, Needham. I mean, you name it, they lowered it. Guggenheim lowered it here. Wells Fargo lowers the price target here. So no bueno on this one. Let's see.
But they're all buys, it looks like.
Yeah, they're all still buy ratings. Now, the earnings themselves, EPS of 53 cents beat the 38 cent estimate. Sales of $12.427 billion beat the estimate of $12.22 billion. Nike direct revenue 4.6, that was down 8%. And then obviously it's the headline there that the Greater China revenues declined by 17%. So what do you think here on Nike? Wait for a long? Do you think short? What do you think here on Nike?
Oh, well, I still own this thing, and I'm going to own it for a while. Even if it comes down to the area you're talking about around 52, 53, where that would represent a long-term bottom. It looks like, what is this, 8-year bottom? That'd be fine. I still think that this has a large moat, and yeah, sure, the China sales have been awful for a while, But that's, that isn't news to me. We've known for a while that this is, got a lot of international exposure, and something like this could happen. But I still think this is, one of the better apparel companies, and they have a large moat. So eventually this will be fine. But it's just, dealing with a lot of headwinds with these tariffs and the exposure to China.
But are you not worried about? Are you not worried that their products just aren't popular anymore? This is a theme that we have discussed on Happy Hour for over a year, and the shoe heads especially.
It's the shoes that aren't popular.
That's what I'm saying. But I don't know. To me, it seems like this company has kind of fallen out of favor against some of its peers. No, I'm just asking you. So that doesn't worry you at all. Eventually, this is going to get low enough to where it's a buy, no matter what the thought on it is.
All these analysts are still saying it's a buy. It's so. I'm not going to argue with them.
Yeah, the products are still popular. I disagree with you, and I agree with Wisdom here. Not you, 13 in the chat, and I agree with Wisdom here. Nike really died with Jordan. Now
he didn't die.
Well, I don't know. I'm just trying. I'm thinking about like the brand itself, the popularity of the shoes from when I was a kid. I mean, these were the hottest things in the world. You were a loser if you didn't have Nikes on. Now nobody gives a damn about these things. I mean, I don't know. I don't have a lot of the Nike apparel, so maybe I'm missing something on that. But
I have a couple of. I mean, I'm not making this any kind of like bellwether or whatever, but this is just something that I thought funny, that I have nephews that are asking for Air Jordans for Christmas.
Yeah, I don't think the Jordan brand, I don't think that'll ever go away. I don't think that will ever go away at all. But and you let me know how the shoes are.
I'm not wearing them.
Yeah, well, neither am I. That's the thing. And I agree with the Veggie Girl here. The shoes are garbage. Like I know I try to be positive here, and I know I try to not disparage things. Sometimes I can't help myself. But when it comes to Nike shoes, these are ones that I've worn for a long time. Yeah, not good. I don't know. Maybe it's my own personal view here that's clouding this, but
it's totally fine.
And I agree here with Pete, which is also kind of a rarity. Jordan is in his 60s and Tiger's probably done. Those were the two big money. I mean, Pete, yeah. I think back to the Masters where Tiger hits that putt and the Nike ball rolls by the hole and like stops for the camera to look at the Nike logo, and then it rolls in. There are none of those moments anymore. There are none of those moments. Someone else here had mentioned that they were losing athletes to other brands like New Balance. I can't find the comment here, so I can't cite you properly. I'm sorry about that. I'm trying. But I agree with all that. I'm just saying there are some headwinds here that I feel like I just don't like this. Your point is well made about eventually this is going to reach a level where it's just the company's not going out of business. Mm-hmm. So it's going to reach a level where this is a buy. It's just that's not my favorite catalyst. That's all I'm really kind of going at here.
Yeah, it's fine to have these different takes on Nike. I'm sure I'm being looked at like, wow, you really like this, awful shoe brand. They do a lot more than shoes. They have a very wide moat. I think that this is the largest retail apparel company I think in the world. So it can go down. That'll be fine. I think that there's a much better horizon ahead for this company. If it gets lower, it's a cheaper opportunity for me.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I understand how long the brand has been around. I just want to say, just to kind of play devil's advocate here, look at what happened to Under Armour. They had really popular apparel too, and then all of a sudden it wasn't that popular, and this stock is in the garbage can. So I'm just saying, I don't think that's going to happen with Nike. I'm just trying to present both sides of it.
No, that's fine.
I obviously have a negative bias on Nike. It is what it is.
I think United Armour or UA is another one that could end up doing well. I mean, look, we're talking about sectors that have been underperforming the whole year and for some time too. Consumer-facing sectors, I think, will make a return, and when it does, you're going to see Nike, you're going to see Under Armour, you're going to see a lot of these names return. There's got to be patient. This is a long-term investment when it comes to these larger names.
And as we always say, 13, That's why they have a market.
Right.
That is why they have a market. Some pretty good comments here in the chat we might as well cover. Ed says, just sell it. Lynn says, all my sports bras are Nike. Just do it.
And I'm not trying to solicit this company to anybody.
No. Of
you
course
make
not.
your
We're
own
having a
decision
discussion about a stock. No. That yeah. We're just having a back and forth about a stock. Frankly, I like that. I get a lot of value from stuff like that.
If you don't believe in it like I do, then don't buy it. Simple as that.
Yeah. Voodoo's actually bringing up a really good point here too. Consumer brand loyalty is more fickle with the younger crowd. This is 100% spot on. I feel like when I was younger, brand loyalty was way higher and would last for way longer. Fickle is a good description here. Voodoo, that's a really good comment there on Nike. Okay, how much time do we have? 5 minutes. What else do you want to take a look at?
There were a couple other names that folks were mentioning before we got into this whole thing about Nike.
Oh, SYM was one of them.
Okay.
Do you want me to go to that, or is there another one that?
Sure. I mean, I just trying to look and see which one it was, but I think it's
okay. Well, pick one that you like, because I actually need to go to the washroom before the show starts here, dude, and I'm trying to be discreet about it, and it's not working.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead and put up, or actually FDX, and then we'll look at
FedEx. Good, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, and FedEx here. Here's your chart. We've got some drawings on there. I'll be right back.
Yeah. So this one, they reported earnings. I think I already saw some folks mention, like Jay. I think he was mentioning about how this had really good earnings, and then it ended up selling off anyway. That's certainly the case. They actually had pretty decent guidance, but it must be that there was a couple of things. So one, they I don't think they guided in the high enough to where the magic number, we'll just say, was realized. I think the guidance was better, but not to where the expectations, the magic expectations were. I think this is also pretty extended going into this print. As we've mentioned many times before, this was, stocks that go on a run into their earnings print tend to end up having something like this, a sell-off happen. We saw it with Palantir. We saw it with Broadcom. We're seeing it with FDX. So I think that's part of what we're seeing. We're losing the 20-day SMA in the process of this. And there's also a trend line I can have Ryan draw for you that I was looking at and I thought was pretty interesting. And it's also going to be something we're going to want to look at later should this come back up here to the 780s. But as far as where this ends up going for now, it's obviously headed south. But I think the 50-day SMA may be able to catch it. It's right above the 500. I would place support right about 260, maybe a little bit higher. That would be where I think the price is going to find support there in that one. There you are. So do you want to, I don't know if no, that's not, well, actually that's one trend line that I have. So that's pretty good.
Okay.
The other one that I have that kind of gave me an idea of where this ceiling, the short term or this near term ceiling for the price action was. If you start with a trend line using the lows from October 26th, 2023, and you just draw it through all those series of lows there, it goes through June of 13th of 2024, February 28th of, or I'm sorry, 22nd of 2024. Yeah, it's just all these under.
So these lows right
those
here,
lows right there. There you go.
We got this. Okay.
Yeah. So that's pretty much. It's not exactly the same as mine, but it's pretty close. It's close enough. And the my trend line is actually just hitting that right now. So I think that kind of gives us an idea of where short term we're going to find some resistance. We are backing off of that trend line now. But if we can find support around the 500 or the 50-day SMAs, then the next time that we visit this trend line, we should be able to break above it.
Okay. We'll see. Good target. All right. We got less than a minute till we open. Let me pop up the main workspace here. Let's have a great Friday here today.
Yeah. Let's have a good one. Let's finish this week strong. Last full week of the year, right?
Yes, that's correct. Last full week of the year. And then also, obviously, last full week of the year. We'll leave it at that. Okay.
Got a little bit more upside from AZI since we talked about it. There was about 210 when we were talking about it. Went as high as 235. It's come back down to 219. Not a whole bunch of movement right now. in this one. Well, maybe we'll get some more after it opens.
Moto Guru and Born, you folks are awesome. Please smash up that like, help support 13 and I. We are open.
All right. So AZI trying to get a lift out of the open here. Lots of sellers on the way up. NRXS also trying to trade up here towards the 368 high from the pre-market. WYFI, white fiber. This is looking like this is selling off. Not able to recapture that VWAP. So that VWAP's giving it trouble already out of the gate here.
Okay. All right. And one scalp done on Oracle. That was about as easy as it gets.
All right.
I mean, this was obviously going up on the back of the I don't know if it keeps going up, but it was obvious to me that that was going to go up out of the open here on TikTok. We'll see how high it goes. I actually ran from this a little early. I guess I probably should have waited for 191. We talked about that earlier with Mark too, but at least we got a little bit of green on the screen there. What else we got moving on? Bank of America's trading up here. Boy, Palantir, Broadcom, Bank of America, Warner Brother Discovery, and Intel at the top of my scanner.
Yeah, it looks like.
Oh wait, is this from the witching?
Maybe.
Because these volume numbers are kind of eye popping here. I think that's got to be what it is.
NRXS pushing higher. This is trying to get up to that 368 high. AZI, this is also starting to push higher as well. This might run into some trouble around 250. Yeah, so there's white fiber going up, AZI. So, AZI taking off now. Just remember, if we're going to trade this, let's not stick around with this thing too long. Looks like it's going to go into a halt here, AZI.
Okay, yep, 276. Sorry, I'm responding to something here at work.
No worries. If that goes into a halt, watch the other movers for some. There it goes. It's in a halt. AZI.
That is in a halt indeed.
Watch some of these other movers for some action now. If they took away the toy that everybody's playing with, they move on to the next toy.
NVIDIA ripping to the highs. Oracle still ripping to the highs there. 191 coming on Oracle. I guess I should have waited. Izzy's mentioning Lunar here.
White fiber is WYFI. This is also trying to push up here. This thing has got a pretty big spread. Be a little bit more careful with this one.
Yeah, it does. It is.
It could go all over the place. Looks like NRXS is trying to push higher, looking for that 368 high in the pre-market.
Oh, Izzy, one thing. When we talked about Lunar with Mark, we did not mention overweight rating, $20 price target from KeyBank, which is what's driving this thing higher here. So I know we looked at the chart with Mark. I don't really think we reviewed the catalyst, but there you go. YCBD. This is, I think somebody was asking about this one. Look at Netflix. Boy, look at the drop and pop on Netflix there.
I think it's the witching.
I think you're right. I think you're right on that. Okay. Well,
you're right. You're the one who was talking about it. So the cannabis names, once we got the a more definitive answer on what was actually happening with the signing, then the stocks all sold off. That was about midday, a little bit past midday yesterday. They bounced around, went lower. Looks like they got pretty hammered in the after hours, and they started recovering in the pre-market. So I would use some levels from yesterday as support and resistance. We are coming up to a lot of sideways consolidation from about 180 to $2. That could be a tough spot for YCBD on the way back up. And just be careful with the marijuana names. The news that we were waiting for, that's kind of past now, but there's still a lot of work to be done in order for this to be on the more legal side or the decriminalized side. We still have the Safer Banking Act and just a lot of different things that still need to happen before I think the marijuana trade really gets going. But Schedule 3, that was a big step.
So you're absolutely right. And 13, I actually covered this in the news segment here today. In fact, the news report, I gave a pat on the back and a shout out to not only you and I, but the entire group here because we have been on this. The announcement initially sent several cannabis stocks higher before gains faded by the close. A move analysts attribute to the absence of any cannabis banking provisions in the order, which the industry had been expecting. So the thing that we had been talking about, 13, seemed to rear its head in that trade yesterday and is still applicable today.
There it is, folks. And
Wisdom wants to say whiff a spliff here on Friday.
I'll tell you what, maybe
Wisdom,
after
you never disappoint. I'll be honest.
Maybe after the show. But no,
take that. Take that.
Okay, so let's see what else we got going on here, because man, this is a lot of whipping around. Looks like some of the space names are doing well. Getting past that Bank of Japan print and it being just 25 basis points, like the market was expecting, was really good.
Yes, it was, but not. I just want to throw this out there. Actually, briefly spoke with Tom this morning. Tom, for those that don't know, is our Asian correspondent, I would say, on Happy Hour. He's not Asian, but he lives in Asia, and he's up on the what's going on over there. He trades all of those markets, too. He's actually a really great resource. One of the things he had said is we're not out of it yet, because there's going to be digestion of what happened over the weekend, and then there's going to be a reassessment next week. That's notable to me because, as we already talked about, we've got our truncated week next week. And what kind of havoc is that going to play with the market? I don't think that's answered yet.
There will be illiquidity. People are going to be out enjoying their vacations.
Okay, so it looks like, look at that, dude. I should have just listened to the chart. Why did I run from the trade so early? The chart would have told us 191's the resistance on Oracle. We literally went right there and pulled back. Should have waited, but at least I put green on the screen early today.
Thinking about it, that's fantastic. I like that a lot.
What happened?
You got to read his comment.
YCBD, sponsor of the upcoming new installment of the James Bond Double Bull 7 series, The Man with the Golden Ganja. Thinking about it, I mean, look, that's so good. I'm screen capping your chat. We're having fun on a Friday, boys.
Now we just need, that GoldenEye 007 box art to be reworked. So all you talented folks out there.
Get on the AI machine and get that done. We need prime Pierce Brosnan in a black suit and tie.
All right, AZI is open and going higher, 307, 308 now.
Oh, that's
I know
funny.
we're having fun, but I'm always going to interrupt and make the price action known. And
don't worry, we're used to that.
Okay. All right.
Oh, this is actually a good comment too. Daniel here saying it seems like the Bank of Japan interest rate decision was already baked into crypto.
Oh, yeah.
And I would completely agree with that. I'm glad you do too. Crypto basically sideways here this morning. It did hold 87K. It's at 87,930 on the futures right now. Daniel, I think you're spot on with that.
To your point about digesting the rate decision, let's see how well crypto holds up over the weekend and into the open next week. I think that there would, that digestion might affect the price of Bitcoin at that time. So we'll see what ends up happening here. AZI, almost 325 now. Let's see.
Thinking about it, I sent your comment to some of my coworkers, and the reaction is universally funny. So well done. well done.
Okay, so here's some levels to the upside for AZI. If this continues to go here, we could see 375. That was a support area for October and November before we lost it toward the final week of November. If we do manage to capture that level, 5 is going to be the next one. And then the 65 EMA has 580. So 375, 5, and 580. Next upside resistance areas I see for AZI.
Okay, SPY here ripped up to 678. The Nasdaq's trading higher here too. I do want to see if this settles out on the witching day here, but so far here, tech actually looks really strong. Qs or Nasdaq looks like it wants to go higher. See if it's got the strength to do that. SOXL, also appearing on the relative volume scanner here. And in fact, you'll be happy to know that it's the big stocks that are trading with more volume today. I guess there's a handful of outliers here, but for the most part, it looks like the big stocks here.
Large seller.
318
for AZI. It's getting walked down for the moment, but still above VWAP. That's going to Jay. I prefer Star Wars. May the spleef be with you. Silver bullish right now? Absolutely. What price are we at? Because the last I looked, we were like at 66, which is fantastic.
SLV at 60. That's higher out of the gate here.
6606 is what the spot price I have for silver right now. Love to see it. Here's a good question for you guys. Do you think silver goes to 100 next year, or in the next 2 years? Let's say. Do you think 100's possible?
Yeah, I do. Seeing the move in metals and how some of these still are used for industrial purposes, energy expansion, data centers, technology. Yeah, absolutely. And I think obviously, if we have any type of market turmoil, you're likely going to see those metals trade higher too. So I would say yes. I like your 2-year time frame a little bit more. Looks like Bourne says yes. Looks like Tracy says yes. Jay says no.
Wow.
Nataraja, I'm sorry. Nataraja, yeah. Nataraja says silver 150 by June. That might be the most bullish call there. Big Dave thinks yes.
I love the difference in sentiment here. I mean, you got some yeses, got some nos, got some really big outlooks. I like it. Micron is a ripper, up 5.25%. This is looking for new all-time highs. It's not there yet, but it's pretty close. All-time high is 264.75.
Okay, so that wasn't the high from yesterday. That was no. Oh yeah, it was right. Yep, I see it right up there.
Jay, do you think that gold and silver come back in then? Like, or do you think they just maybe bounce around, go sideways, and set up for the next rally, or or are you looking at more down? Are you looking at downside? I would ask.
Wi-Fi actually looks like that was rejected from the View app and might be coming back in now. That's WYFI, by the way.
It is. We're still above VWAP with AZI, but kind of having a hard time going higher. Maybe if we can get through the seller at 318. There's a large seller there, so we'll see if we can take him out. If we can, then we'll probably end up in the 330s. Do you think Rivian will hit 23 today?
Boeing popping out of the gate here. Troutbum was asking, any chance for pot stocks to come back up? I think there is, but as we've kind of highlighted here, the really big catalyst that we're still waiting on, we didn't get yesterday. I think that's one of the reasons why you're not seeing any continuation and rather seeing a pullback on top of that. Could they go some more? Yeah. But again, still waiting for another pretty big catalyst there.
So Rivian, I mean, it's had a nice, couple of months moving back up, recapturing some 52-week highs. We've gone on a 2-day run now. Yesterday was looking pretty good. That took us over 20. Now we're up over 21. I see some resistance at 22, but there's also a gap fill that starts there. So if we enter into that gap, I think there's a good chance we may end up filling that, and then maybe we get that turnaround. I think that's why you're asking about 23 is, are we going to see that gap fill? I would say that if we can get into the 22 handle, that I think there's a more of a likely chance that we do end up filling the 23, but we've got to get into the 22 handle.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
DJT, some more strength here today as well. That pulled back out of the open and immediately got bought. We're looking at pre-market highs up around 15 3/4. Also, another comment here, Jay. I think gold and silver were the year of 25. Were the trade in 2025. In 2026, they both underperform. And then he goes on to say, everyone on the gold and silver bandwagon, that tells me to be cautious. That's the
totally makes sense.
Yeah, the contrarian. I totally get that too.
I would only push back and say that it's not like inflation's going away either. As a matter of fact, it could come back in a big way next year with the whole gasoline situation in the 5 Western states. We get about anywhere from 17.5% to 34% of our agricultural products from those 5 states, and they're going to see some pretty hefty fuel increases. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't think you are, Jay. I think that it's going to probably underperform relative to everything else, but I don't think it's going to come back in very heavily either, because inflation isn't going away, and we're probably going to see a lot more of it next year.
I'm on the other side of that with you. We'll see what happens with that.
Okay. No, he doesn't agree. That's fine. That's fine. This isn't a pissing contest.
No, and like we were saying earlier, when we were going back and forth on something, that's generally a good thing.
Yeah.
Good thing. I
Rocket
do
Lab.
I like the comment here. Read the chart, right? The chart has really told us what a lot of these things have done. I expect that to continue in 2026.
Rocket Lab over to 6250. There are a lot of orders at 65. Love to see it. So we can't play SpaceX on the market yet. This is the next best thing, I think. It's just that it hasn't really grown to the levels that SpaceX is yet. But man, once that Neutron rocket gets going, it's going to be much better.
SPY here going for that 680 key level that we mentioned at the outset here. It'll be interesting to see if it can get above and hold that, or if it just comes back in. So far, market has traded straight up out of the gate. That is the SPY and the Qs as well.
Okay.
Yeah, thinking about it, you sent some laughs around the Benzinga crew here today, and for that, I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
HYMC getting mentioned. This is up 16 to $16 now. Let me look at this one. I don't think I looked at it this morning.
Which one? Sorry?
HYMC.
HYMC.
Highcroft Mining Holding Corp. I think maybe we didn't see this one because might have something to do with the volume. I haven't looked at the volume, but the way that the stocks have traded into pre-market, it looks like there isn't a whole lot of volume in these.
Not even traded 400,000 shares yet today.
Yeah, I'm looking at the candles and I'm seeing like hundreds of shares only. So that's probably why we didn't look at this one. Be careful. That just means that this is very illiquid, not really looked at, getting pushed around because what is the float? 50 million. Be careful. It's great that you've got this move up, but there's not a lot of participation in it. So I if it does start to sell off, it could sell off pretty quick and pretty violently. But it also could move up the same way too. So just be careful with some of these low volume movers here.
Jay here mentioning that the semis are ripping. Jay Harris is mentioning Broadcom. Speaking of participation, there does seem to be participation in that. I'm actually seeing more option trades to the upside here on some of these names as well. Repeat NVIDIA call sweeps on this, AMD call sweeps, Intel call sweeps, Tesla call sweeps, Broadcom call sweeps. We've been seeing some Palantir calls come through, Amazon calls, SMCI calls, Google calls. Actually, that Google was a put there. My bad.
Truist thinks Broadcom is worth $510. I'll take that.
Oh, yeah.
I'll take it.
All right. Palantir at the highs, 191 coming on Palantir. Bitcoin also at the highs. Tell you what, Bitcoin sure tells me that it's a risk-on day. So far.
Seems like it. And sell, I don't think that we're going to get that carry trade killed.
Me either.
It's going to have to be something like we continue to cut our rates, they continue to raise theirs, and at some point that spread between rates is going to kill that trade, and it's going to move to another market. And
to 13's point, just to add on to that, the real thing there is, does that happen in an orderly fashion? So do the rate hikes in Japan happen orderly, paired with the rate cuts across the globe happening orderly? So far, that's what we're seeing. Remember, with the Bank of Japan, the one thing that we had said is that they are anticipating a 25 bips hike up to 75 basis points. But what would really happen to the carry trade unwind would be if they raised more than the anticipated 25. Well, they opted not to do that. And around the globe, like, for example, here in our market, we cut 25 instead of 50 or whatever it was. So as long as that continues here, 13's right. That spread is naturally going to spread out. It's not going to happen too quick, and that trade will resolve of its own momentum.
And here's another thing, too. The new prime minister of Japan used to be against raising rates, but now they're looking at using that as a potential negotiation tactic with the United States. And that's going to come down to some, geopolitical regional tensions that have been happening between Japan and China and Taiwan. So if that kind of exacerbates, and Japan gets a sense that the United States is not fully in its corner, this is a lever she's going to try and pull with their next rate, in order to, put pressure on the U.S. president. So that's something that could certainly end up happening. And if you're interested in monitoring the yen carry trade, look for, watch for things like that.
Medline, by the way, this was the IPO from a couple of days ago. Relatively quiet day yesterday, but this is trading up to the top end of the range, including that on the day of the IPO. 42 looks to be the key level there. That's continuing here. And then Joe said reversal time. And I'm looking at the SPY chart, and basically we went right to 680 like we just discussed, and it stopped there. It did not yet go through. Now it still could, but so far clearly finding resistance at 680 on SPY.
That's nice when JANF has been really, really good since the end of November.
A lot of retail hasn't it? Except for Nike.
Well, I think Nike was doing okay until that news. Also with ANF, what a great double bottom this thing has. I don't know if you're looking at a daily chart, but this thing
I was scrolling through some retail names, but let me go back to the daily chart here for ANF.
Just the fantastic.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah. So maybe this ends up being possibly a W-shaped recovery. If that happens, maybe that we see this go up to like 140. Runs into some resistance, comes back down to the 500-day SMA or the 20, whichever one happens to catch it. Maybe it's about 110 where we see that support. But then after that, the next move up towards 140 could be a breakout. That would be how I could see the W-shaped recovery potentially playing out. But double bottom either way looks really good, and we're getting a golden cross today. I think tomorrow on Monday you'll see the 50 above the 200. So great stuff here on ANF.
Okay. Lunar, which we talked about earlier. Let's see what's going on with Lunar. That is looks like this is actually maybe trying to hold above its VWAP here and go higher. Remember, the $20 price target got given on or got put out, I should say, on that. CGC, it looks like some of these pot names pulling back. I noticed that Tilray is also red. CGC at the lows. MSOX also at the lows there. And then there was another stock on here that disappeared that I want to take a look at. CCL, this is ripping out of the gate here. They had earnings this morning.
CCL, huh? That's Carnival Cruise Lines?
Yeah, yes, sir.
I don't know, man. I can't get. I'm not into the cruises.
Me too. Me too. I think if I ever tried one again, it would probably be a Viking, and I'm not in a rush at all to do that. I'm with you on that. Lyft, by the way, this was down in the pre-market. This got downgraded today, down about 4% here today. Although it looks like it's trying to put in a bottom. This was Wedbush downgrading Lyft to underperform. Price target of 16, so 3 points lower than where we're at here. Looks like some more weakness there in Lyft.
Born to be Free is saying that there's movement in MSOS, and certainly there is a nice move above the this I wouldn't say 530 level that was giving it some trouble. It looks like it's coming up to some of the low prints from yesterday, where it initially bounced around 115. So that could be a resistance area. But if it does manage to get through that, the next resistance areas I see are going to be up around 565 to 570, where that 200 EMA is on the 5-minute. So, the CCL, I guess it's more of a consumer-facing stock, right? So it probably does better next year, but I'm not into the cruise lines. After COVID, people getting stuck on the cruise ship. I'm just like, probably isn't that appealing. Nope. ONDS, this is getting some movement here, looking to go through 815 where there's a large seller. I did hit 817 out of the gate. It's hitting that seller at 815 right now. If we get through this guy, then there's another seller at 820, but we'll have a new session high.
Yesterday's session high was 834 ONDS. Let's see, what else do we have here? I don't see anything necessarily interesting from the scanner, just a couple of penny stocks. I guess we kind of expected that if we do get a low volume day here today. Although with the witching, maybe it won't be low volume. Not sure where I sit on that yet. Well, CoreWeave continuing its strength to the highs here. Nasdaq actually looked like it might try and go higher, and it looked like it might have just been a break there on the SPY as we stopped at 680. We are right back onto the highs on SPY.
Fantastic. And there's a question Celsius was asking, who is leading the legislation on pot safety banking? Democrats? No, it's a bipartisan effort, actually.
Yeah.
Could I do a squeeze analysis on Caper? Let me see what Caper's doing. Let's see what I can tell you looking at it.
So you want basically the short interest and days to cover read on that?
Yeah, and it's 33% with 7 days to cover, so it's in the parameters we're looking for here. Looks like the last piece of news was on Tuesday, so we're not getting anything today, but it is up it's over $1 up from where we opened.
Tesla might be finding some support down at 482, by the way. Palantir did stop at 191, although that's been super strong here today. And the VIX continues to melt. We're now below 16.
Thank you, Wisdom. Appreciate that.
Splendid week ahead filled with green candles and serene profits. Boy, that sounds nice. May your stops remain untested. Your scanners sing sweetly. You are truly wonderful people. You're pretty wonderful yourself, Wisdom. I know we joke a lot about weed and all that, but appreciate your positivity.
Absolutely. And getting back to Campercore Therapeutics real quick, it's pretty elevated still. It's not as extended as it was earlier this month. And when we started, it ran up to what was this, like $40. We're still within that price range from that day. So kind of what would you say, Ryan? Is this kind of a floating island? Do you like this one here? But we just got a golden cross on December 11th, and I think what I would be looking at is support around 23. If we lose 23, then I think this is going to come back down to the 20-day SMA around $20. But if we continue to hold up here, I think we want to see a break over 28. If we get back over 28 and start closing above that, that might indicate there's more upside coming.
This just looks like kind of a range to me, 13. We still have plenty of price action going back to 2017 at this level. So not necessarily that true floating island. But if we go back to the daily and zoom in here, very clearly the spot that it came back into, pretty important, right? This is obviously the previous high there on CAPR. So it looks like it came in and it's trying to hold that. Also, just the way the line's drawn here on the chart, it is holding currently the 9 EMA on the daily for whatever that's worth to you. But as mentioned, just to kind of recap the short interest thing, the setup for a potential squeeze, the way we define it here, is a combination of both greater 20% or greater percent of the float short and 5 days or greater on the days to cover. And CAPR meets both of those criteria.
Real quick, AZI, this is losing some levels here. We just went through VWAP. We haven't seen a candle close beneath it yet, but this is really starting to sell off. MACD is indicating that this is a momentum swing to the downside. Be careful if you're in AZI. This, if we start closing underneath the VWAP, we might be coming back in to the 230s. Looks like there's HYMC is kind of slowed down here. Volume might be just leaving the market pretty quick here this morning. Just be careful if you're in something that seems to be losing its volume.
Yeah, let me ask you, do you think maybe it kind of disappears throughout the course of the day and then maybe reappears near the close with the witching?
Okay.
Take care of yourself, Bourne.
Take care, Bourne. You're going to have to make an executive decision here. Go and open the happy hour chat and tell me if we can keep this up here.
Okay.
You ready, folks?
I'm not sharing it. I was born at night, but not last night. I mean, you got to be out of your mind.
Oh, okay. So that's not appropriate?
Well, no, I'm still waiting for the popped out chat to load here.
Oh, okay. Anyway, while he's looking at that, let's see what's trying to get some support. It looks like HYMC is trying to turn around here, even if it is on low volume. HYFI still needs to turn around and recapture that VWAP. It is getting some support down near the 200 EMA. Looks like AZI is also trying to recover as well, but we don't want to see it close beneath that VWAP. MU has got to be a good short soon. Let me look and see what that's looking like on the.
I mean, okay. Okay. Look, the executive decision. Here we go. The executive decision is yes, it'll be okay, because we basically called for this. So this is my own fault for calling for this. I literally asked for someone to make the Pierce Brosnan gold. So I'll be honest, like this is, it's kind of like Not the greatest resolution, but it's creative and it puts a chuckle. There's nothing really explicit, Frozen King. So yeah, I you know what? I'll even go ahead and give it a little smiley face like. So there we go. Hopefully y'all are laughing here today.
Yeah, that's just hilarious, and it's it's thematic as well, because these cannabis stocks are they've got our attention.
It's thematic.
It is. It's thematic.
It's a little bit of a loose tie there, but we'll go with it. We'll go. It's Friday.
I don't want to keep using the same words all the time.
Hey, I like thematic. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Your AZI, by the way, looks like this did pull and filled that little bit of a gap, trying to go higher and still holding above the 9 EMA.
So Jay, you just made me think of something like we should probably all be putting those data storage names in a single basket and be like, well, these all look like they could be shorted. So you got SNDK, MU, DC, and STX. I think there's SAN. Is it SAND or is it SA? What's the SanDisk?
SNDK.
Okay, so that is the one he was talking about then. Yeah, I just put all those into a basket and be like, these all look like they could be shorted.
Hey, Oracle above that pre-market high. It's actually trying to build here. We'll see if Oracle can continue to move to the highs here, plus 7.5% on the back of the TikTok deal.
Actually, I don't know about shorting SNDK. This looks like it could still go higher. Let me look at some of these other ones.
I'll bring that up here for the visual aid 13.
Western Digital. This does look like it's. I mean, it might go higher, maybe 200, but it's. I don't like this chart too much either. STX. Yeah, this thing is just absolutely gone crazy. This looks exactly like WDC. I don't know about the hard disk names, but the Micron and SNDK probably better. Let me look at Micron again.
I'll tell you, I'm looking at this SNDK chart. Sure looks like this wants to try and go higher as well.
Yeah, I think out of all these, SNDK looks the best.
SNDK ripping out of the open here. You guys are mentioning GAN-X here. This is Gain Therapeutics. What was the reason for the fall off yesterday? I know we are bouncing here today. I do think maybe that 325 spot. What was the news yesterday though? 7 a.m. Gain Therapeutics announces positive results in key exploratory endpoint from its phase 1B clinical study for Parkinson's disease. They saw a brain biomarker improvement after 90 days of treatment. Stock was down 20-something%. What's the devil in the details there? Anyway, it's bouncing back here today. I'll tell you what, the headline reads like it's a positive.
Nothing's looking too appealing for the moment.
Really quickly here, GAN-X, it's going to have another catalyst possibly on January 6th, which is Tuesday. There's going to be a 10 a.m. Eastern meeting here to discuss the results announced today. So okay. I think you might have another, I guess if you're going to trade this or more importantly, if you're going to hold this here, looks like Jan 6 is the next day of note on GAN-X. Today here, though, plus 30% after kind of a rough day yesterday. Again, I'm not an expert on the actual drug, the trial, or any of that, but looking like we're getting a little bit of a bounce back here today.
Yeah, why?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to discern, but
why would it go down on news like that? I mean,
I don't know. That's what I say. The devil's got to be in the details there somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I could spend like a while looking at this and might not even find the answer, but I'd have to spend some time looking at it. But it's had a big drop, so we know that for sure. But how high does it? I mean, does it recover? Let's see. We're coming up to some resistance around 3, right there, right now. We'll see if we can push through it. After that, we have the 20-day SMA and the 350 level being the next area of resistance. So there you are. It's through 3 now. ATHA from earlier this week, I think yesterday. This is not having a bad day. It opened in the mid sixes, and we went as high as 710. Slow moving, but not having a bad day. Just kind of going through the list of some names that are up today. Here we are with AZI. That lost its VWAP. It's trying to stop itself from going lower, but this is potentially looking at the second close. Yep, second close beneath VWAP here. We would want to see this recapture VWAP here, or if we can't, then I think this ends up going lower. Lots of sideways price action, some stuff going lower. Where are we at with SPY? Did we end up recapturing 680? Nope. No, we haven't. What does this price action look like? So we did pop above it 5 minutes ago, and then we just came right back beneath it. So 580 is still a resistance level.
I'll tell you what, this AZI is doing its absolute best to hold this area here. It's like it's having a battle. It's right at the 9 EMA as well as the gap fill on that halt candle. Really could go either way here. No position for me. I'm not on this one. Bloom Energy ripping to the highs there. Ticker BE. Man, CCL continued. This actually took another leg after retesting the VWAP. Well, I'll tell you, I said I didn't like the boats here, but this trade would have worked. That would have been pretty good on that pullback. Got $1 move there.
So with go back to, if you could, Bloom
Sure.
Energy and kind of zoom out so you can see the price action over.
You still want an intraday chart though, or do you want a daily?
Just a 5 minute. Like you got there. Just back out so you can see Wednesday.
Got it.
Okay, so that's where we're at right now. That little consolidation area in the pre-market. One of two things is going to happen here. Either we're going to get the volume and push through this, or we're not going to be able to get through this, and we're going to turn around and come back in. This area right here, supply zone, just wanted to point that out. You're going to need a high volume to get through that. If it does manage to get through it, the next one is going to be at 93. Triple CX. This is the I want to say this is the inflection SPAC. I believe that's what this is. Let me double check, make sure I got.
Yeah, I was going to say that I remember us talking about this one a few times, but I can't remember. By the way, BE, we were just talking about that 125 call sweep sitting the wire too in size.
It is inflection. It's going to be under the ticker INFQ when they merge. It's supposed to happen either by the end of this year or early next year. But it is a looks like there was some news today. Citron.
Yeah, Citron. So that's actually reminds me of something we discussed yesterday. I'll read the news though. Citron adds to CCCX. As remember, Citron does longs now. Based on technology valuation and national security relevance, CCCX should trade to at least $27. And if Rigetti's valued at today's price, Dives Tech laid out his 2026 outlook, including a scenario where the Trump administration makes a strategic investment in a U.S. quantum company for national security. If that happens, one company stands out head and shoulders above the rest. That would be CCCX, apparently. That reminds me, I was talking yesterday about a potential bear cave report, and I believe that was on Serve. Let me see what this is doing here. Let me see if I can find it, and I'll share it with you here. The Bear Cave issues a cautious report on Serve Robotics.
And what were they saying about that? It was like the overall, because this is the one that DoorDash and those food delivery companies use, right? Where they just deliver.
This is the robot, the autonomous robot that does the final mile or whatever of delivery of the food.
Okay, yeah, I don't know how good that's going to be. I just every time I think about that, I'm just like, yeah, people are going to mess with these things. They're just going to mess with those robots.
Yeah. So that was what I was talking about yesterday. I know we didn't get it out while we were on the show, but did see it later in the day. So Serve the Bear Cave short report yesterday. Looks like it pulled off and then got bought right back up.
That's right, Jay. He was Citron was all over this CCCX. But hey, as long as they keep pumping it, this can only go up, right? Now, I think we'll just have to wait and see what ends up happening here. Remember, this is above the SPAC price. SPAC price is $10. So Don't know how good this is going to be pre-merger. Yeah, exactly. I mean, people, we've already had like a whole bunch of reports of people like DoorDashers stealing food and, getting into confrontations with people, taking pictures of people asleep on their couch in their house. I mean, yeah, I don't like it. I don't like Serve. I don't like anything associated with DoorDash. mRNA is pumping. Says Albert. Joe's. We're not sure if we mentioned, but GANX got a price target of 8 reaffirmed by Wainwright. I don't think we saw that, or I don't think I mentioned it anyway. Gain Therapeutics. This might. Let me look at something here. This might be. No, it's not. It's not short squeezing. Float on this one, 37 million. And H.C. Wainwright thinks it's worth $8. This just had phase 1B news yesterday. I think this is something we were talking about yesterday.
Whoa.
Right? Because I think we brought up or is this the one that you were just talking about earlier, the January 6th thing?
Sorry, I got sidetracked and I was looking at the stock Wiz suggested, so I wasn't paying attention. 13. I apologize.
INFY.
Yeah, and actually, Wiz, that's the first thing I did was I clicked on the news to say, what's the news here? The most recent news that I have was from Tuesday, December 16th, so from earlier this week. It was Infosys and MIT Technology reviewing insight reports reveals that the critical role of psychological safety in driving AI initiatives, with 83% of business leaders reporting measurable impact. So I don't have anything fresh for today, certainly nothing that would account for the huge pop that we just got into the halt.
I mean, this is a big move for such a heavy float. Almost 4 billion in this float.
Yeah,
This thing is moving like a penny
here,
stock.
let me look around and see if I can find you guys something. I don't have it yet.
Is there something that? I don't know. There's probably something in the Form 6 they had from earlier this month, but I don't know what the reason for this move is.
It looks like Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. They don't seem to know either. Biggest move in the last 6 years on this company. I don't see any news being attributed to this, even from some of like the bot accounts that love to pump.
Getting asked about Microsoft, and I mean, this kind of just popped up to some of the highs from yesterday and came right back down. It's just going sideways right now. We're currently selling towards what is this? We're still getting support. So we are over the 20-day SMA. We closed over it yesterday. We're still trading above it. I'd say as long as we hold above the 20-day SMA, this should continue to recover. I think the question is going to be what happens once we get to the 50-day SMA, right at 500. I think that'd be the big question I have for Microsoft. Microsoft News is what happened. I don't see the news that you're referring to. Is it in? I'm looking at Microsoft's newsfeed. Let me see if it's an INFY.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm doing something here for work that I wish I wasn't doing.
Yeah, if you can. It's on it's on Xidler. Okay. Do you have a link you can post? I'm curious to see it.
Okay, I'm sorry. What do I need to do here?
Well, we were just we have was saying that INFY is off of Microsoft News. I didn't see what news that was. So if there's a like a link to a tweet or something,
let us know what the news is. I still don't see it.
Absolutely, that'd be nice.
Microsoft, as it announced, a multi-year partnership with Cognizant, but that's not this.
And what's the ticker for Cognizant?
But so, Wiz, you're citing news back from December 12th, December 11th.
That was 8 days ago.
That's what I mean. All right. So the news from December 11th here. Microsoft and India's frontier firms Cognizant, Infosys, TCS, and Wipro deploy over 200,000 Copilot licenses to transform enterprise AI. That was the Microsoft news from December 11th. And it does mention INFY. But I mean, that was 8 days ago. I don't know.
So just looking at some of these movers from earlier, AZI, that ended up going lower after it couldn't recapture VWAP. It's found some support around 265. It's trying to turn back up, but there's a large seller in the way at 280. We have VWAP at 289. It might even be this 290. It's like
INFY resumed and is going higher.
Jeez.
Sorry to interrupt you here, but I know we're trying to like live to figure out what exactly is going on here. It's clearly moving on volume. This is going to rehalt here, 2662. In fact, it is rehalted. And it was open for 22 seconds. So
I wonder if there's any politicians talking about legislation for AI safety. I'm just wondering if that might be something that's being said, because psychological safety in driving AI initiatives, that sounds like something that certain members of our Congress would latch onto.
Yeah, I still, if that's the case, I don't know. I just don't see it. So if that's the case, I don't see it anywhere, and I'm looking around. But there's obviously something going on here, because for this to unhalt, go right back up to the highs, and then rehalt again, there has to be enough stuff going there.
Yeah, you're right about that. Lunar is ripping.
Yeah,
and so is Sidus.
you folks are right about Lunar here. This actually the next leg up after it kind of consolidated here out of the opening.
Lunar, Sidus Space, Redwire, those are up over 10% all today. The next one that's coming up to that level, you have Voyager up over 8%. You have Fly Aerospace up over 8%. The space plays are doing really well this morning. It's probably the same case with like nuclear and drones and things like that as well. Let's see how some of those are doing. ONDS is up 2.25. Oklo is up over 5%. Let's see, Quantum, RGTI, that's up 2%. So all the names from that theme that we were talking about all throughout the year with drones, quantum, nuclear, and space, those are all doing well today. Accenture's upbeat Q1 earnings fueled INFY's intraday surge. So what is that ticker? Is it ACC? No, what is that? What is is it ACN? Is it ACN? Yes, ACN. And now, are they partners? Like, why is ACN causing INFY to move? Like, what's the relationship there? Rocket Lab 65 is a wall. Let me look at Rocket Lab. Well, it looks like it moved through it because we're above 65 right now. Great mention though, because this thing was at 61 this morning, and it blasted off.
Well, sorry, which one again? I'm dealing with something here for work.
Rocket Lab.
RKLB.
Yeah. This one having a really good time since November. We just it had a nice formation. We came down, traded around the 50-day SMA. We're coming back up, pushing through some resistance. Next area of resistance that I see is going to be up around 67.5. And then we have another resistance area at about 70, and then the all-time highs. My PL is moving. Planet Labs, yeah, all the space names are doing good this morning. Planet Labs is another one. This is more on the imaging from space side. They take pictures for all kinds of industries and the U.S. military and NASA. Planet Labs, another one of the space names, doing well today. Rocket Lab needs to close above 65. I'm not going to argue with you about that. Let's see it go above 65. CoreWeave up 15%.
CoreWeave has actually been extremely strong here today.
Yeah, it's recapturing the 20-day SMA.
Let me see what we had for options here on CoreWeave.
I think if we are going to see this close above the 20-day SMA, we're going to want to also see it close above 80. We're really close to that, and that's a big resistance area.
And I don't see really anything in the options market or the unusual options market driving CoreWeave here today, interestingly enough. But a huge move.
How's Oracle doing? Man, oh man. I'm not saying that this is, on the road to recovery yet. I still want to see this back above 200 first, but this is a nice first step here.
It sure was, and it actually went higher than I thought there. Like I said, I definitely got chased from that, or I guess I pulled the plug on the trade a little bit early there, but a nice move out of the gate. Now that we've pulled back here, holding this 191, 192 level would be ideal.
From yesterday, Stable Offshore, SOC, this sold out of the gate here. Came down to the 200 EMA, and it's recaptured a lot of the other EMAs, the smaller ones, and the VWAP. It looks like this is trying to come back up to the 880s, where there's a lot of supply. So I would say, if this does move back up, 860, 865, that could be where that supply zone begins. But if the volume increases and it pushes us through 880, then I think that this may go on to 9. INFY is open again. Look at this here. Hit 30 exactly and came right back in. Just be careful. HYMC. We were looking at this one earlier. This is still trying to recover after hitting the 1634 session high and then backing off down to VWAP. Looks like WYFI is not having a great morning anymore.
No, it isn't. INFY, by the way, is open again. This went to 30. It looks like it's trying to pull back here. Still spread like crazy, though, on INFY. Volume also still pretty good.
AZI tried to trade back up to VWAP. It almost got there, but it's turning around. This one may continue lower here. It's got to hold up 265, but if it doesn't, then I think we're coming back into 240. Lots of wild price action here, folks.
Yeah, nothing perhaps more wild than INFY. Actually, the spread on this has come in a little bit, but it's still, it is all over the place.
Jim, I think that's pretty close to where I'm looking at, right? No, I think that's no. I don't know if I said that or not, but that's another spot that I'd be looking at too on the way up to 70. 70 looks like the big area that's really got a lot of resistance. Look at all the price action in October. Multiple days tried to get over and close over 70. Despite trading as high as 73 and the 65 or whatever, that's a big indication there for that 70 is going to be tough. But man, if we get the volume to push through it, this thing could probably go to 80 in a short period of time. Hey, Amanda, good morning.
Rivian still at the highs.
Great mention there, Jay. Marvell red in a sea of green. Looks like it was green earlier, but not anymore.
It's almost at unchanged. It's only down 0.2 here.
Mm-hmm. this is going to have to get back above the 50 and 20-day SMAs. Otherwise, this looks like we're going to come back down and test the 500 again.
Real quick here, folks, in about 20 minutes, we're going to be doing a very, very quick all access. It's actually an update on a previous all access that we did for Birchtech. But 13 after that all access, we're going to come back here for a few minutes to wrap the show up together. So just chill in the back while we run that, if you don't mind. It won't be long.
Hey, no problem. Wow, look at this.
INFY downside halt, big pull downside halt.
Just saying, look at this price action now. And shoot. Oh, man, I wish we had some more news attached to this, because that would have been great, but didn't want to touch it because don't know why it's moving. Yeah, it looks like a lot of this party has subsided.
That 680 resistance area that we talked about in the SPY right from the pre-market and the open, that is still holding here. SPY does not have the strength to get through it, and all of the indices look the same in terms of their price movement.
Man, it's not the formation you really want to see going into the final, final week of, or one of the final weeks of December.
Well, let me try refreshing Pro here real quick. Got a little bit of lag there. Ondas back above 8.
Nice job, Lion.
VIX, we talked about that melt happening earlier. 1550 looks to be where the VIX settled there. Oh, sorry, this is done now.
A lot of weakness right now in some of these movers.
Looks like we had kind of like that initial push. We had some of the witching stuff going on, and now it seems like a Friday before a holiday week, to be honest.
Yeah, I would think that if
oh shoot,
there's a lot of liquidity still happening here. It's so Cam, Santa Rally. Did you talk about this yet with the Santa Rally, Ryan? Oh, he's listening.
Sorry, say that one more time.
Did you talk about the Santa Rally yet today?
I just reminded everybody when its dates are, but I've been doing that every day this week.
About how we've started to see over the past 10, 15 years of data, it's kind of been moving the Santa Rally a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I had mentioned the front running effect, where it feels like because it's so sought after, or people think we're going to get it, they actually buy early, causes the move up to be to happen before. Yes, I discussed that this morning, right when we opened.
Yeah, I don't think that we're not going to get a Santa Rally. I don't know how great it's going to be, but it's supposed to happen after Christmas. Okay, so WYFI. This thing is
real quick here. Sorry to interrupt here. Real quick, I was just seeing this here. I didn't realize Bertha Coombs, I guess, is retiring from CNBC. She's been on for as long as I've been watching CNBC. Bertha Coombs has been one of the correspondents that they've gone to. She's been in the industry for a long time. She's excellent, I think, and nice, long, successful career. So I guess they're doing a send-off for her on CNBC. I will do the same. I wish Bertha Coombs well. She is, again, she's just been a great correspondent on CNBC, one of the better ones, frankly. Anyway.
Tenzin saying get out of Apple. And I'm looking at Apple's chart. So what are we thinking here, Tenzin? Is this going to lose the 50-day SMA? I got that at just shy of 269.50. Looks like yesterday it tried to go underneath it, recaptured it, but here we are still trickling lower. What do you think? Do we think we're losing 50 today or sometime next week?
Apple looks pretty range bound here, doesn't it? 271 or 273. Really kind of been in that range since yesterday.
I'm just looking at the daily, and this looks like we're starting to hit the 50-day SMA for the first time since August. So, it's been a while since we've interacted with this. I'm starting to get the sense that the more we, test this as support, the weaker it's going to be, and eventually we could see a move through it. So what we're going to want to see if we're bullish on Apple is we want to see the price move away from this 50-day SMA after testing it yesterday. So far that hasn't happened yet, and if this continues to test that moving average, I think it's going to end up losing it. It's settled. Okay.
Apple, I feel like, well,
Yeah.
let's see. Let's see on Apple. I actually think
Well,
Apple's going to be all right. Sorry, go ahead.
Lion. When is the last week of December? It's after December 25th, after Christmas, right? That's what I said.
Oh my gosh, we've been over this a million times. We keep doing it.
Yeah.
Here. Nail in the coffin. The stock market rallied during the last 5 trading days of December and the first 2 trading days of January. This is settled. It's
After
over.
Christmas.
This is what it is. We even brought the son of the guy that invented this on the show last year and had him tell you verbatim when this is. This is a done deal.
Yeah, we were only talking about the front running. Oh man, INFY, this thing is just a halt fest to the downside now. And
yeah, see, I'm skeptical of when there's those no news pops like that, and the move is so huge. That's why I spent so much time trying to flag that down. I still don't see anything.
AZI, here we go with Laura Prince, trying to get some buyers are trying to pick it up at 250. I don't know how well that's going to work, but a lot of these mover names starting to come back in some more. HYFI, this is trying to find some support. We lost the 200. Don't know when that's going to turn around. NRXS, this is also beneath the VWAP. It sold right out of the gate, trying to recapture the VWAP. I don't know if it is. Volume seems to be pretty low. Oh man. Okay. Well, I haven't taken a trade in some time. I only had 2 trades today out of the gate.
Yeah, I just did Oracle out of the gate, and frankly I piked it because it did go to the top end of the range there.
Yeah. So I don't.
Blazed Rhino, we need Santa sporting an upside down backwards visor. We need to make it as trolly as we can. It needs to be an upside down visor, and it needs to be backwards. Oh man.
Kramer said sell iron.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I will say really quickly, I was actually just looking at this. First of all, iron's actually up today, but there have been a bunch of put sweeps here on iron today. Here, I'll actually filter for it.
Why wasn't he saying this like a month ago?
Here. This literally just came a second ago, 4 put sweeps, and this is on the back of just a whole bunch of call buying as iron ripped up earlier today.
Is this the first time he's saying this? Because the stock's down like 50% from its highs. Oh, now might be the time to sell. That's ridiculous. He has been saying it for the week. Okay, then that makes better sense. But even then, that was like, it was still down like pretty significantly off the highs. So let's say from a week ago, that was when it was about $40. So it was still down around 46%. The BOJ trade failed. What was the trade? I don't know about a BOJ trade. We were looking at it as a potential.
I was going to say the only trade that failed are the doomsday sayers that said that the entire market's going to crash because the Bank of Japan was going to unwind everything. That's the only thing that failed.
Yeah, that's not
the end of the world predictions were bunk.
Yeah, 25 basis points was pretty much baked in.
Baked in, absolutely 100%.
But if it was going to be higher than that or no change at all, that would have created some wild price action in the market. But yeah, 25 basis points was baked in, and we saw a lot of that unwind happening through over the course of this week and in crypto as well. That's why I think you're starting to see some crypto behave better. Like, what's Bitcoin at now? Did we get back above 90K yet? Or are we still?
We tried. We actually tried to pop not long ago, maybe 20 minutes ago. We're currently sitting at 88.5 though.
89,250 is about where we were at. Yeah. Couldn't get back above there, but yeah, you're right. The crypto, the 25 basis points was baked in.
Solar Edge is actually popping just a little bit here on volume. Also a bunch of call sweeps there on Solar Edge. That's SEDG.
Any news attached to that?
That's what I was going to see here.
I got a sell rating yesterday.
Citigroup maintains sell. Yep, that's the most recent thing I see there.
Goldman Sachs thinks it's neutral. Now,
do you think solar might be a good kind of subset of energy next year?
Well, I think it already is. You're getting solar farms popping up monthly. We are, and here's another crazy thing. California, solar is now the primary energy electricity generator for the state. Little more than 33% as of I think earlier this summer, it was pulled it ahead of natural gas, which is also just around 33%, but slightly lower than solar. And then you have other, renewables and some nuclear that's also helping. But for the most part, it's natural gas and solar just edged ahead. So I would think that, you're going to continue to see more of these solar farms continue to prop up.
Yeah. DJT is ripping, says Izzy. More new highs here. Continuation on DJT.
It's been doing well. It just broke over 16. It's been doing pretty well this morning. Oh yeah. So Brian's mentioning one of the nuclear names up.
INFY, dare I say, maybe it's settling down near 22. I'm just telling you right now, I'm be hands off that one all day here today, but maybe 22. Well, maybe
Voodoo. I'm not going to disagree on California's energy problems. I think that they're going to have a big issue going into the next year with the shutter of refineries. But I still think that it's great for solar and it's great for the battery play, because that's what the whole solar infrastructure is based with. It's you've got solar panels sucking up all the sunlight and storing that energy in batteries, so that when the sun goes down, not only do you have natural gas providing the electricity, but also from the stored batteries. So I like batteries going into next year. I think solar is just fine. CCCX getting a little bit of a pop here. We'll see what ends up happening with that. But anyway, I think solar is going to be just fine.
Bernhard's asking, Joe, where on the financials charts do you find the cash burn per quarter? I think you use the income statement and the statement of cash flows.
I just basically all three. Got to compare all three. How much cash do they have in the bank? What are their income statements telling you that they are using, and what their cash flows like over those same time periods? So you just have to do the math yourself, but you get an idea that how much of a runway they have. And sometimes in these filings, they also say how much of a runway they have. Yeah, that's the thing that was blowing my mind, Sniper, was that INFY had a 4 billion float, and it was moving like it had one.
By the way, that INFY, that $22 level, goodbye. It broke that. It looked like it was trying, but nope. More lows here. More selling.
Hey, no problem, Bernard. Hi-ho Silva. Away, it says EKS. Because it is dripping. And we're also getting some, that's CCCX. All of a sudden just started moving up here. Maybe it's going to shoot for the 1429 high that it made earlier. INF really coming in. WYFI looks like this is trying to come back up to its 200 EMA. Very, very low volume. I don't know if this is going to do anything really right now in the morning for a trade. AZI, this is still making some, still putting in some more lows here after the 325 high it made out of the gate. Haven't seen this really recover yet. It still could come down to the 235 area. What is the SPY looking like now? Are we continuing to retreat? No.
Yeah, SPY's retesting 680.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get too excited until it actually breaks it, because we already did this once today and failed. But here we are, retest of 680 right now.
Goldman Sachs says the Santa rally is still in play. I said that. what is this, about
Buy
an
stocks.
hour ago, about 40 minutes ago.
Buy stocks.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. Is Next Computing still around? I don't know.
Oh, what have we here?
I don't know. What was the ticker for that? If you recall, let me know. SPY volume low. Yeah, just people not around. Take care, Jane. Have a great weekend.
Take care, Jane. Enjoy your holiday. Enjoy your holiday, and a happy holiday to everybody out there. All right, producer, are you around? Did you want to run that all access now? 5 more minutes? I just don't want to roll over it, which I am liable to do.
ONDS hit a 827 high just a moment ago.
Lunar calls, by the way, but those look like closing orders there. Those were the 10.
Look at this price action we were having for the past few days with ONDS. We're continuing to hit this same area here. They might even be able to make a bit of a trend line that we're breaking out of. So if you take the high, the 856 high from Wednesday, draw it through yesterday's highs, we're breaking over this trend. You could probably even use some wicks from previous weeks as well. But
here you go.
In the past 3 days, yeah, we're kind of breaking this trend. Let's see if we can get back above 835.
I really think what happened here, like if you look back just kind of at this year, I really think what happened here is that you had a legit turnaround of the company. You got themed up, right? Because the government's been telling you that they're going to proliferate drone in every aspect bigly. And you had a big move to the upside here, which overshot. And now you're actually seeing the price discovery of where this should actually be. So 13, I really think that some of the technicals on this are going to continue to be important into 2026. And I think we're going to be able to look at the chart, come up with a game plan here. And I think because it was such a highly traded name, not just here, but throughout FinTwit as well, I think you might have exaggerated moves to both sides here as the actual price level gets determined over time.
Yeah, I still think you're going to see drones, get a lot of attention next year, especially when we're talking like some of these underwater ones that just recently took out a couple of Russian subs at port. I think underwater drones could be pretty interesting next year. There's not a whole lot of companies that come to mind that specialize in that thing, but it's something I think we would want to take a look at because those nautical drones or underwater nautical drones are pretty interesting. There's been a lot of attention being paid to them lately.
What else do we see out there? Tesla still kind of reversing and selling off here. Tesla having kind of a rough day. That was after a pretty nice day yesterday. 680 still kind of stopping us.
Yeah, I
think that might be it for the day, 13.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I really want to have any open positions right now. Maybe in the afternoon. In the afternoon, we tend to see a lot of this stuff come back and perform a little bit better. But it could just be one of those things where I just start to enjoy my weekend early.
What I will say here, Carolyn Levitt tweeting about an hour ago that 1 p.m. today, Trump will making an announcement on incredible deals that will lower the price of drugs and pharmaceuticals. So as far as your catalyst here for the afternoon, that's going to be coming out. That's likely going to move some of those stocks. So put that on your agenda for 1 p.m. Eastern time today.
Good mention, EKS on copper. I was looking at FCX yesterday, wondering if this was going to come back up to 50 pretty soon. We are moving over the July high today, and $50 is the next big resistance area that I see. So just taking a look at that yesterday, I was like, man, what a nice move this has had up through 40. But the thing that's concerning to me is that we are pretty extended here, and this isn't the highest the RSI has gone to, but we're very, very close to some of the historical highs in RSI. So I think that if we do hit 50, there could end up being a little bit of resistance. Maybe we do blow through it and get really extended up to 52.5. But at some point soon, I think FCX is going to have to come back in. It's pretty extended.
Okay, this is a perfect time to do the all access here real quick. So 13, I'm just going to pop you in back. Producer, are you ready to go?
Right.
I think that you are. 13, we are going to come back here and close out the show. So refill on that coffee, boss.
I'll be waiting.
All right, sounds good. Now, for right now, folks, I am going to kick it over to the very handsome Ryan to give you an update on Birchtech. Thanks, Ryan. We have a special follow-up all access for you here today. We've got Richard MacPherson, founder and president and CEO of Birchtech, back with us. Tickers are BCHT on the TSX and BCHT on the OTC. Birchtech is a leader in clean air and water technologies. All access starts right now. Hey, Rick, welcome back. I know we saw each other about a month ago. How you doing?
Oh, good, Ryan. Good to be back with you, sir.
Oh, the last time we were together, you said all we have to do is wait. Well, we've done that. Now the judgment is out here. This ruling increases Birchtech's judgment to roughly $78 million. How significant is this moment for the company compared to when you first filed the case?
Oh, it's very significant. I mean, we've been years working on this. We filed in 2019. The trial was held in 2024, and we were successful and awarded $57 million at trial. And the judge has seen fit to put a package together for final judgment of $78 million. So we're extremely pleased with that.
Okay, great. So it looks like he came up there pretty significantly. I think when we talked last time, you were happy with the judge's process that they would that they would actually reach a final judgment here, which they've done. Now, for investors new to the story, can you explain what this judgment represents for Birchtech?
Well, it represents two very key things. First, it adds great validity to our patented technologies. We still have a number of different outstanding situations where we're trying to move forward with licenses of folks that are unlicensed using our technology. So it adds a great deal of credibility to our claims, our patent claims. Secondly, of course, what it does is adds a great deal of capital to our resources as we go forward in building out our water purification business.
Yeah, no doubt about it. 78 million is quite a bit of capital there. Now, once that's received, what are the top priorities in your eyes?
Well, top priority basically would be to use that money wisely to expand into the water purification business even further. We've built and paid for our facilities in North Dakota and in Pennsylvania, and we are looking to expand on those due to the workload that we now have in both the analytical lab and the design center. And that's the tip of the spear for us entering the water business. Now, added to that, of course, is our plans to open reactivation centers. And so these funds will come in handy in terms of being able to support those operations, which will be predominantly debt financed. But we would have an equity component, which we would use some of this capital for. So overall, Ryan, what it is going to put together a situation for us where we'll be able to maximize our growth strategy in 2026.
Okay, perfect. Investors hearing maximize growth, that's right on target there. How does this judgment serve as a template for future cases transitioning Birchtech into a recurring licensing story?
So what this does is it sets further precedent for us in terms of the validity of our patent claims and the ability for us to be able to sign more licenses with people that need to use the technology. In our present ongoing Iowa case, we've already settled with the majority of those defendants. They've taken licenses and are moving forward with us in position to be able to quote on their supply side business, which bodes well for our air business going forward in 2026 and beyond. And what this does is basically add to that credibility. And so I think overall, our air business will benefit nicely with this already signed off and on the docket.
Okay, that's absolutely fantastic. Look, it's great to hear about this. It's great to follow up with you. I can't wait to see what Birchtech has going forward. Thanks so much for joining us today, Rick.
My pleasure, Ron. Thanks for having me.
That is Richard MacPherson, founder, president, and CEO of Birchtech, ticker BCHT on the TSX and BCHT on the OTC market. Now, let's send it back to Ryan. Thanks, Rye Guy. Really good interview there. Nice job on the update. Let's bring back 13 here. 13. Let's close this out strong here real quick before we turn it over to Paulo for trading simple with Paulo. Let me go ahead and bring Pro back up. What do you got?
Well, look at ONDS. We're still continuing with this trend line break. We're coming up to yesterday's highs. Might see a little resistance here around 835 to 840. We come back in, I think that there could be support around the 820, 815 area, but we'll see if we end up getting that. If they do get support, and it does turn back up towards this 835, 840 area again later on today, might end up seeing a breakout on volume. So let's just see if we end up getting that back.
All right.
Nice
on volume. I'll take it. Just saying. Yeah. Just saying.
Take care, Kevin. Have a good one. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, have a good weekend. And anyone else that's going to hop out here, enjoy your weekend. If we don't see you next week because you're tied up with family and friends, have a great holiday.
And well, they had the All Access. There was a conversation about FCX and copper, and we're just talking about it. Copper still going to be a critical mineral going forward, and the rare earth trade. That theme's going to likely come back next year because it's still unresolved. It's just been put on hold for a year, and any trade tensions that arise, could be some other stuff. Any trade tensions that arise between U.S. and China could put the rare earth trade back on, because they don't get along. Then there's that risk that we have those exports from China occurred. So it's still an ongoing trade idea. I expect it to return next year. I don't think the mineral theme is off the table by any means.
Okay. All right, let's check in on some of our other stocks that we've been looking at. DJT at the highs that continued to rip here today. How did INFY do? INFY still looks like that $22 level ended up being a crucial one. I still haven't seen anything come across the wire on that, by the way.
Yeah, and it's just really weird to me because usually you see this could be like a crack trade. You usually see these kind of things happen with low floats. So to have no news and to have a 4 billion share float, it's really weird. So I'd be curious to know what this is all about. Now it's I think the amount of shares traded was still about it. So there's a lot of illiquidity either way. It wasn't a large amount like hundreds of millions of shares. It was like about 10 to 20 million shares traded, but. Yeah, no news. It's really weird.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yep. Sorry, I couldn't help but laugh at Portillo's, which is in a 4 handle now.
Take care, Lion. Have a good weekend.
Take care of yourself. Enjoy your week next week.
Cyril, DJT had news yesterday, and it's still running on it.
Yeah, and more of a breakout here today. This was continuation. It's actually just breaking into new highs here, 1665.
200 EMA on the daily chart is at 812.
And this was just to kind of put a bow on this. The news yesterday was the merge with K Technologies for cold fusion.
Isn't that just hot air?
Cold fusion.
Yeah, if anybody that's watched the Saint probably gets that.
I've seen the Saint, but I can't place that. Every time I think of cold fusion, I think of the Keanu Reeves and Morgan Freeman movie Chain Reaction.
That was a good one too, but I think that was I think there was a little bit of a different approach to that because that was separating hydrogen and air and oxygen from water.
Yeah, right. They were basically just using water as a fuel source. Yeah. Planet Labs still at its high. Excuse me. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on here.
For a second, I thought there was something wrong with my headphones.
Nope. Nope. I'm just trying not to cough directly into a microphone. I got respect for all of the viewers out there, and I'd like to not do that. I got a great hardware mute button, and if I really have to get better at blurting out when I start swearing, like when I'm like, 13, you're such a like,
Thanks for the compliment.
I have to get better. I have to get better at that, but
when you might need to use that on Monday after the Packers beat the Bears.
If that happens,
on me.
You out. I'm in here. It's actually, then I'll have a day to have cooled off because if they win, it'll be a victory Sunday. But yeah, it's a big matchup, man. It is a big match. I got to re-up on Maker's Mark prior to that just to make sure.
I mean, anybody looking at anything that's interesting, because it just seems like there's a lot of just low volume action happening here.
Yeah, and speaking, I think we are going to be on low volume here, 13. I think the volume surge that we got is probably done. Maybe we get some more on the close when those options expire. But basically, the market here, the SPY, just straight to 680, couldn't get through it, backed off a tad. It's basically staying right around there, though.
Yeah, Bitcoin is still leaking. Maybe it finds some support around 87.5, like it did earlier this morning, but lots of sideways price action in Bitcoin.
Yep.
You got one share of DJT, got a seller at 90. Well, I hope it works out. I mean, that is a long ways to go.
I mean, that's a trade for the lulls, right? Like that's just like one share looking to go parabolic. That's a trade for the lulls, it seems.
I thought that was this. Oh, Amanda, I do remember that too. That was the one that had Walter Matthau and Meg Ryan and what's the guy? He played Andy Dufresne.
Tim Robbins.
Yeah, was that the one you're talking about, Amanda? Because I think they were talking about IQ or Cold Fusion being hot air as well. And I think you're right. I think that actual quote was from IQ, but I remember there was also something about that being said in the same. Anyway, there's a reason why it never worked out. Cold Fusion ain't really a thing yet, apparently. CCCX, this looks like it might be rolling over. It hasn't been able to recapture and hold above 14 for too long, and the volume's really died off. Volume has really died off in a lot of these names.
Can you even begin to comprehend if the Tay Technologies DJT merger is the ones that figure out Cold Fusion? It would be called something like Trump Fusion or something stupid, but I mean that would just be so outrageous. I would laugh, but I'm like that, so.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think it's going to happen either, just to be clear. I'm thinking ahead for the lulls, to be honest.
I think we'll get actual nuclear fusion before we get cold fusion at this point. The chick from Cocktail, the same. Elizabeth Shue, I believe is her name.
IREN's still holding higher. APLD new highs. That was another name that really pulled back on the data center stuff.
Mr. Fusion. So we're coming up with the if Cold Fusion ends up working out with DJT, then give us your names. We got Trump Ghetto, we got Mr. Fusion, Trump RX. I don't know about that.
No, Brian is talking about the healthcare that you're going to get here today. I'm personally excited. I am excited for 600% lower drug prices. I'm not going to lie. I'm definitely excited for that.
Yeah, I know. But
I'm not going to get ahead of myself because I was told going up to the last announcement that we were going to war with Venezuela, and I still haven't seen that. So I'm just going to take it with a grain of salt, as they say. 13, we are out of time here today. You have any official closing words for the group before we turn this over to Powell?
Yeah, just one quick question I'm going to answer. Cam asking if any predictions for when the AI bubble pops on us all. I probably won't see the bubble pop until the 2030s, but I think we're in a bit of a super cycle. So there's going to be lots of ups and downs. But my thought is I don't think we're going to see a bubble pop until much, much later. But we'll see how that ends up shaping up. That's the way I'm taking it right now. But until then, folks, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And we'll see you for next week. It'll be, Christmas week. I'll be wearing a Santa hat. It'll be fun.
Yes, I was just going to ask you about the Santa hat.
I'll be wearing a Santa hat, folks, because I'm getting ready for I'm going to have the Christmas spirit. So until then, folks, have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you then. Take care. Goodbye.
All right, 13 really good stuff here this week. We appreciate you as always. Have a great weekend, and of course, go Bears. Now, we're going to remove him before he can come back at me, because that's how we do things around here. 13's departure. I couldn't help myself. 13's departure leaves room for Paulo. Let's bring him on. Paulo, how are you doing today?
Hello, Ryan. How are you? Can you hear me successfully?
Yes, I hear you great. What do you got for us?
Perfect. How are you? Happy holidays. For today, I have a very interesting Bitcoin cycle and some important stocks that might be finding some bottom soon.
All right. Always love hearing about stocks at a tradable bottom in Bitcoin. Trading Made Simple with Paulo starts right now.
Welcome back, traders. This is Sandra with Trading Made Simple. I'm here to show you short-term proven strategies. People think trading is a one-size-fits-all market. It's not. We live trade and train daily. Let's talk trading.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. How is it going? I hope we are all having great days around the holidays. And let's start with today's live stream here. So for today, I would like to show a Bitcoin cycle. Once I actually tried to share 2 Fridays ago, but I did had an unfortunate internet problem. I think I was not able to share it. The problem has been solved. I hope we don't see that again today. And as always, remember, if you would like to request any chart, any stock, any ticker you would like to run, some technical analysis, some internals as well, just type it in the chat room. I got it right here to the right, so we can absolutely check it out. Okay, so let's start. Yes, internet perfect. Let's start today with the Bitcoin cycle that I was looking to share 2 Fridays ago, but it was interrupted by connection problems. So for Bitcoin, I have been studying lately market cycles, right? And there are plenty ways of visualizing market cycles. One common technique is to try to visualize it as sine waves. All right. So for trading view, actually, we do have, I think here, the sine line, which is a tool that we can add into our chart and kind of try to face it. And the technique would be trying to time the bottoms on the sine waves against the bottom in price action. So one important concept on cycle waves, on cycle analysis and cyclical models is that cycles are actually measured from bottoms to bottoms, not from top to tops. So when we're trying to find cycles, it's important to try to align and face those sine wave cycles in the market bottoms, not in the market tops. And one interesting potential cycle, because of course it's a potential model, it's valid until it is invalidated, right? So far it is still valid, is this sine wave here. What I do find very interesting is when we actually visualize it against the RSI momentum in the weekly time frame, we can see it has been perfectly aligned to the RSI momentum in the weekly since Bitcoin's creation back in 2008 here. We can see this is all the price history we have for Bitcoin. And let's check it out here. So we can see the first bottom on the cycle wave was actually perfectly aligned to the first Bitcoin crash. When Bitcoin actually crashed from, imagine that, from 28 per coin to $2, that's like a 90% crash for Bitcoin. And this one was marked on the first bottom. Then we actually had the bull market on the cycle model. And it went all the way here with the highs we had. And then we started losing momentum, once again, finding another bottom here. So momentum actually happens a bit before price. That is the reason here we see momentum actually bottoming a bit before price. But also keep in mind another important cycle concept is that cycles are not perfectly aligned technically, because they do have kind of to take into consideration real market dynamics. All right. So still we can see it was very close. I would still call it that the cycle was perfectly calling here the bottom. And we can see if we would have bought again Bitcoin here on those lows on June 2015, this was calling again the bottom for Bitcoin before the upcoming bull market, which goes right here with the cycle. Remember, the tops are not what we're measuring here. We're measuring it against momentum, right? We see momentum started slowing down. And then once again, very interesting, for the third bottom, we did have the perfect alignment again for this cycle model. Then once again, we had the bull market, which kind of started topping around here. But remember, we would like to measure bottom to bottom, not top to top. We had the bull market, and then once again, we started losing momentum. And once again, the bottom was perfectly aligned here with the potential cycle I have been studying lately. So what we see is, according to price history, this sine wave model against the RSI momentum and price on the weekly time frame has perfectly called the last all the last major Bitcoin bottoms. How is this possible? According to the research I have been doing, there are three important aspects that are actually validating and explaining why is it that we can visualize market cycles according to a sine wave. First, Bitcoin was literally built to be cyclical. Every 4 years, we have the halving, which is a process in which the amount of Bitcoins being mined is actually cut, I think, into half. I'm not sure how much the supply is actually reduced. I wouldn't like to give false information on the exact count, but on the halvings, the amount of Bitcoins being issued is drastically reduced. That is one, and that happens every 4 years. So that does create a 4-year cycle for Bitcoin, which is already known. Everyone talks about the 4-year cycle for Bitcoin, but I haven't seen much cycles actually being visualized by the sine waves. Then we actually have the global liquidity market cycles, rate cuts, rate hikes, right? And then finally, investor sentiment. Investors go through different emotions on these cycles. We see fear at the bottoms. We see greed at the tops. And from my research, those three important aspects of the market would be explaining why is it that so far we can see Bitcoin price history perfectly aligned with a potential sine wave. Now, where are we? We're once again on the cycle bottom. Will this time be different? I personally don't know. Of course, technical analysis does have, even though we can do a very deep analysis and all, in the end, it does still have it does have a bit of speculation, right? Of course, charts are valid until they are not. A chart can get broken, then we have to visualize which is the new cycle forming, what is going on. But so far, we are in the bottom here again. We can see how the previous top was also perfectly aligned. So will this time be different? Will this be a great buying opportunity for Bitcoin? Right now, according to our cycle, we would be here. So let's follow it, of course, on the upcoming weeks. I personally think this is going to be a bottom for Bitcoin. So all eyes on this potential sine wave. If you would like to add it into your graphic, let me show you the coordinates here. It's a sine wave. You would be mapping it here at 30 on number 1, at 70 on number 2. That is so that we can see it nicely on the RSI indicator, right? And then our coordinates would be minus 436 and minus 344 if you would like to add it into your trading view and follow it. Let's give it here 1 minute so that members can actually maybe take a screenshot if you would like to add it into your chart. And let's see what potential chart requests we have here in the chat room. And then let's continue with some important stocks that might be bottoming. Let me see here. All right, perfect. Remember, if anyone would like to request any chart, any stock, any ticker, just type it in the chat room and we can check it out. Now let's continue here let's start now with Bitcoin out from the log chart, and let's go into the support we're looking at. Here, of course, we have the sine wave. So besides the sine wave, of course, it's important also to try to compare and find additional confirmation on the chart, support, resistance, Elliott wave counts, and where are we actually? Bitcoin is retesting the 0.786 Fibonacci retracement from its April lows. We're also retesting an important support trend line, and it does appear this could be a potential wave to bottom under a new Elliott wave cycle. We see we're starting our cycle here at 74,000, our previous Liberation Day lows, right? We found resistance on an important resistance trend line. It's not loading this part of the chart. Interesting. We're finding an important resistance on our previous rising wedge pattern, and now we're bouncing and finding some consolidation around support. So keeping in mind we're at the lows of the cycle, if we actually start bouncing here on the 0.786 around 85, even though we can consolidate a bit more, it does appear Bitcoin would be looking at a potential strong setup. I would like to share another setup here that is looking like an important bottom, and it would be Rivian stock. All right. Yes, I know Rivian does not yet have the fundamentals, but I would like to share something very important that we're seeing on the technicals. First, when we go into the monthly chart, I really like this trick for spotting long-term investments. It actually does appear Rivian stock is the typical IPO straight into stage one accumulation, and we are seeing big volume here. We can actually see this big volume spikes, indicating there is strong institutional money activity behind this. Only institutional money can actually trigger this amount of volume. And do we think that institutional money, which is usually smart money in the market, after Rivian, after going from 178 per share to 15 per share, do we think this big volume spike would be indicating institutional money panic selling Rivian stock here? I personally don't think so. I do think this is accumulation volume on the monthly time frame. And when we actually zoom in into the weekly chart, what is it that we see? It appears we're, well, I wouldn't call it a stage two yet. I would not call it a stage two, but we're having a strong breakout with volume. We can see here this volume spikes also appreciated on the weekly time frame. There is volume behind this breakout. And while we remain above 18, I would be at the ups of 27, even 40. I do have some interim forward, which is basically higher indicating bullish for the stock. We actually here indicators. First, who are the institutions of Rivian? Not only two important companies, Amazon, almost 13 major Rivian Amazon. With then we have important institutional investors. Vanguard almost 4%. We also got states. Yes, just one trade, but it's strong institutional holders here. And what is it that I do think it's the ultimate buy signal for Rivian? It is the insider activity. Last 6 months, all right? We go 1 second into the chart where December past 6 months, I think that would be somewhere around June, May, somewhere around that. So this previous 6 month here for Rivian, we're seeing price breaking out. How is the insider buy to insider sales ratio looking? We have 4 million purchases. All right, that is super strong. We have 4 million purchases against 180,000 sales. Let me zoom in here so we can see it. Purchases against sales. We've got 4 million purchases against basically 180K sales. So we are seeing that this huge insider buying to selling under this price action is having a bullish breakout as a development. So I personally do think that's a buy signal for Rivian. Fundamentals for the stock are not there yet, even though they are increasing their revenue. Still, they're not having much of a nice operating margin. Hear the news. Let's see here the news for the stock. They're not loading here, but we did have, it was rated as a buy for WIT, but for some reason we're not seeing here on Rivian. But yes, I do think Rivian would be signaling here a buy setup. Let's continue with other potential stocks that might be forming a bottom. Let's see if we have any requests here. All right, let's see here. All right, nice. Let's continue now with NVIDIA. One second. All right, perfect. Let's go here with NVIDIA. For NVIDIA, I would be looking at a potential bottom soon. So it does appear the stock is also finding a new Elliott wave cycle here. We are probably already on a wave 2 correction. We already retraced the minimum expected for a wave 2, which would be a 0.236 Fibonacci retracement. We are actually very close to the 0.382. And what I like about this setup for NVIDIA is that usually under Elliott wave cycles, when the RSI goes from near oversold to near overbought here, then that actually signals a new bull market for the underlying asset we would be analyzing. Usually, wave 2 and wave 4 bottoms tend to go back to equilibrium on the RSI momentum indicator, which would be right here, the 50 level on the RSI. We can see on our previous cycle, wave 2 bottom at equilibrium, wave 4 bottom at equilibrium again. Then, of course, we had the bearish divergence that signaled the end of the current cycle. Now, after going from almost oversold into overbought, once again, we are retesting equilibrium. The Bollinger Bands have been contracting, and we have the lower Bollinger Band right on the 0.382 Fibonacci retracement here. So even though maybe we could continue a bit more downside for NVIDIA, I would be looking at the 165 as a potential bottom for NVIDIA if we haven't already bottomed. If we actually start breaking below 164, that would look more bearish. Then I would be looking for the 0.6 Fibonacci retracement. If we start breaking below the 0.382, located around 165. So far, I do think NVIDIA could be very close to forming a potential bottom. Another stock, let's load it here. Another stock, I do think it might be very close to forming a potential bottom too, would be Microsoft. Yes, there is a double top. It is true. And it remains valid because we're below the neckline. We do have a double top on the weekly for Microsoft. But also, we are already retesting here let's see what we mentioned for the equilibrium first. When we go from near oversold to near overbought, that usually is the typical representation of a wave one under a new Elliott wave cycle. Let's see if that applies here. See? From oversold almost to overbought, wave two usually, of course, this is not a strict rule usually, right? Wave two bottoms near equilibrium. In this case, wave four didn't reach equilibrium, but then we had the bearish divergence. We had the correction. Our new cycle, our previous cycle, from almost oversold to almost overbought. That is one, two bottoms around equilibrium. We have the wave three, wave four against equilibrium. Again, five with average. Now this new cycle, some overbought in around here. It's a double top of time. The case would be we are 0.380 feet trace 475 Microsoft. If we that range, I would add a bit more of a retracement around 425, which would be the 0.618, the 618 Fibonacci retracement. I see there is a bit, let me see. There's having a bit of a connection problem. All right, let me see here. All right, it appears there is a bit of a blip. Apologies for that. Let me check this problem. I did some tests. It was working fine. Let's see if we can continue here. Apologize with that. I will be checking that detail. That is strange. Let's go now here with Meta. For Meta stock, I would also be looking at a potential bottom. So what we're seeing is, despite we are seeing a lot of volatility on the past weeks here, multiple important stocks are already starting to form some potential bottoms. For Meta, we are seeing the same here with a wave one going from oversold into overbought, and we are bouncing on a potential wave two bottom on the 0.6 to 0.5 Fibonacci retracement, while we remain above 600 to 638 Fibonacci retracement. It does appear Meta stock could be potentially forming a bottom. We also have here a 5-wave correction, which would be a typical correction pattern for wave two. The only thing I don't like for the bull case here on Meta is that actually the RSI indicator went very low. It went a bit lower than equilibrium, so that would be looking a bit dangerous. We are rejecting the 20 simple moving average, but Meta could be forming a nice bottom here on 0.618 to 0.5. Let me show now some potential stocks that do appear we might be going through a correction, and the first one here would be Apple stock. So Apple stock, it does also appear we already did a wave one under a new Elliott wave cycle. The stock went from oversold into overbought, but we are rejecting from resistance on the momentum indicator. What I do think it's a strong bearish signal is that we had a fake breakout above from the channel, and we actually we're not able to close that weekly candlestick, and now we're seeing a big rejection. So it does appear Apple stock might be ready for a potential correction within a new Elliott cycle, which would be the wave two correction. I would be looking at the RSI indicator potentially going here closer to equilibrium, and I would be looking at the 0.236 to 0.382 Fibonacci retracement range. The 0.236 would also be perfectly aligned with our previous highs here at 260. So I would be looking for a bottom around 240, 260 for Apple, which would look here like which would be looking here like a potential bottom for the stock, the 240 to 260 range. And finally, another stock that does appear to be going through a correction as well would be Netflix. The only problem for Netflix is that it doesn't appear this is a wave 2. It does appear that Netflix is actually correcting its whole bull market from the 2022 past cycle. We can see, keeping in mind what we're discussing with equilibrium and the RSI momentum indicator. Remember, when the RSI indicator goes from oversold into overbought, that's usually a new wave 1 under a new cycle. Wave 2 goes to equilibrium. Wave 3 again, and wave 4 once again here into equilibrium. We had the bearish divergence, but it does appear Netflix stock is now correcting here. We have already done 3 waves lower. We have 1, 2, 3. I personally think for Netflix, this is looking like we might have a 5-wave correction with a potential bounce here, and a final 5th wave lower. Let's see where the 0.5 Fibonacci could be located. So I would be looking at a potential bottom maybe around 90 or maybe even 75 for Netflix. What I would also like to look for the stock would be maybe if we can find a bearish divergence for the stock, a bullish divergence, I'm sorry. Let's imagine we have a bit here of a drop, and then we have a bounce and we make a lower low in price. But if we're able to make a higher low in the RSI indicator, I think that would be signaling a nice bottom, a potential nice bottom for Netflix. If the stock after that would be able to start a new Elliott wave cycle after such a strong bull market, would have to be a question for later, right? After we actually finish this correction. But it does appear Netflix is correcting its whole bull market. So I do think it still has a bit more room to the downside. Let's see, we still have 3 more minutes. I would like to share one more here with Adobe. Let's share here Adobe. For Adobe, I'm very bullish on this stock. I'm actually an Adobe investor. I opened a position here somewhere around 330, and it appears Adobe has already ended a 5-wave correction here. We have wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and the wave 5 lower. What I do like a lot, all right, what I do like a lot for Adobe is the double bullish divergence. Yes, sounds funny, right? Sounds, I don't know, maybe like a cheeseburger combo, something like that. It's a double bullish divergence. Where do we see it happening? This was the lowest point on the RSI indicator. Then we actually made 3 times a lower low, second lower low, third lower low. But the RSI momentum indicator was showing the bullish divergence, appearing at a very important weekly support trend line with very important volume going on here. Additionally, from that, we're seeing the second bullish divergence, as this is still, let me zoom into the chart now. This is still a lower high, right? We can see this peak here. We are on a lower high compared to this peak, and we are also on a lower high compared to this peak here. at 420 per share. But what are we doing on the RSI momentum indicator? We're breaking out with a higher high. So this would be indicating, even though this is a lower high here for Adobe, we are actually breaking out. Momentum is increasing for the stock, and a bottom could be soon. Insider buying to insider sell ratio, it's also very positive. We can check it on Yahoo Finance. I don't want to go and maybe potentially lag the computer. But we are seeing here strong volume, all right? Strong volume coming in for Adobe on a strong breakout. And finally, for Adobe, the last thing we have are their fundamentals. Check revenue for Adobe. Revenue, it's increasing very strong. Operating margin oscillates around 30-40%. Free cash flow. Free cash flow is very strong. So fundamentals are actually great here for Adobe. 35-40% free cash flow. That's very profitable fundamentals. So we're seeing those great fundamentals with a very important support here, and we're breaking out on momentum. That looks very good for Adobe, and that would be our final setup. I would like to thank you, everyone, for your participation, for your attendance. As always, I would like to thank the Benzinga team for inviting us here on Fridays, me and Sandra, to share some potential market setups, some insights. And of course, I would like to wish you all happy holidays. I hope we all have great holidays with our friends, our family, and our loved ones. Thank you, everyone, and that will be all for today. Thank you.